Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 10th Point Canadian Highlander weekly tournament series, streaming from home edition. This time, though, I have set up a separate monitor so that we should be good to go and not have as many technical difficulties as last day. I am your host, the Red Mage, and joining me this week and this point pretty much every week we have my ameliorating co-host Loman, what's up?
Ameliorating co-host. I like it, man. That's a long word.
I tried to figure I tried to use a different adjective, and also you literally used that word ameliorated like 5 seconds ago in chat. What's up, dude?
Oh, did I? Like a
Yes,
healing
you
cell.
saw that you had ameliorated pox by having a bunch of point removal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know if anyone can fix pox, but it's been on my mind today for whatever reason.
You didn't say
And that's
fix, you say ameliorate.
yeah. Well, I mean, it needs some rejuvenation. I need to bring it back to itself, and that's kind of a cool lead-in and a kind of a really seamless and almost flawless transition into Canadian Highlander, which is what we're going to be showcasing today.
Hey.
And I think it's perfect to talk about Pox before we talk about anything else because that's the thing you can do in Canadian Highlander. That's the thing you can do in Canadian Highlander, right? You can do anything you want in Canadian Highlander. So if this is your first time you're watching, and or you're a long time watcher, if you're a long time watcher, you probably play, and you probably know you can do damn near anything you want. Dredge is a deck now, Martyr Proc's a deck. You can play anything. So that's kind of one of the cool things is there's a ton of freedom in the format, and it's a brewer's paradise, right? So you can do whatever you want. And we've got how many players? 8 today that we're going to be
10. We have the full 10.
10. Okay, well, we're still going to be 3 rounds, but we're going to have a lot of matches of Magic, and hopefully we'll get to see a lot of different types of Magic getting played out.
Yeah, I'm pretty
today.
stoked.
Yeah, me too. It's always fun to watch the Magic. I've been on a real building tear recently in the format.
Yeah, I saw that you have been trying to set up another a brew deck list archive type deal, which
yeah.
which has been pretty useful for people that are trying to do stuff that is a little bit more exotic. Obviously, Wheeler maintains his.
So I tried to do a little bit of all of it. Yeah. Well, it's tough, right? Because I was looking at some of the stuff that he's got in there, and I'm even looking at the stuff I've got in mind that I'm putting together right now, and it's definitely going to be a bear to keep updated. That's one of the things that folks will always ask, does someone have an updated deck, a list of Doomsday or updated list of Bogles or whatever the hell, just some random deck, and that question can be a little exhausting because I play this format because I love it, but I kind of want to just do what I want to do that day. I don't want to build Bogles today. So I wanted to try to get as many lists together and then get it out there for the community so that there's a lot of folks who are specialists, right? They're I only play eggs. I love eggs. I only play goblins. Make Strela. And for me, I like diversity, so I play a bunch of different stuff. But I kind of wanted to get one spot where hopefully at least the dialogue could be generated and forever deck specialists could tie for you, for instance, could be hey man, your red deck, your blue moon deck, probably should look like this and this now. Be oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
and then
I mean,
change it.
I feel that the conclusion that I have reached specifically about Blue Moon are slightly different than the conclusion that other people have reached. But yeah, I played the deck definitely for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, Blue was an interesting deck. I mean, there's some interesting decisions in it too. You could be like me and be a complete dumbass and change your deck over to a Platinum Empyrean Madcap Experiment deck again, and forget to take on Torrential Gearhulk, and then cast Madcap Experiment like a boss in game,
and only take 26.
No. I still won the game. I took 15. I took 15 on the Torrential Gearhulk. I was oh, no, I forgot to take you out of the deck, buddy. Still managed to win. It was great.
Torrential Gearhulk is a great card.
Yeah, well, it's also that I was playing the what's the version of the card? The Invocation, the Invention. I was playing the Invention version of it.
Oh, so it looks completely different than anything.
It looks like a Force of Will or some shit up there. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like an artifact. So you're just oh yeah, this is an artifact.
Right.
Yeah. But I got a 5/6. I took 15 damage to get a 5/6. That's some Phyrexian process.
Oh, you didn't even get to cast something off of it.
There was like nothing in my. It was like there was like a sorcery, a ponder, and like a madcap experiment in my graveyard. It's like, oh, okay, got a 5/6 out of this. Spent four mana, 5/6, take 15. Like honestly, it's not the worst card ever. I mean, in some matchups you cast it,
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. I was like, I was doing like 60 to 8. I think I did like 80 decks or something like that in the last week. So I was just like, I just missed it, man. But yeah, anyway, like that's out there. You guys are interested in it? Check it out. Games.
Yeah. I just posted the bracket in chat. So we have we can look at some matchups. So we have Luca versus Injunjoe, Neisan versus Lorin, Necro versus Einstein, and Rarer versus Asmallpotato. The Hendral has asked not to share their hand, so we are not going to feature them. And Bailite has sent me a message and in chat, and that is me forgetting about Bailite, I am sure.
Oh, is Bailite playing today?
I don't know.
Oops. You got the bye, man.
Did Bailite? Okay, we're fixing this live. We're doing this live.
He's in the 10.
Yeah, no, but I have 10 responses. Have I added somebody that wasn't supposed to be there? Blahguy, Neisan, Hendral, loading, rare.
Did Necropotence sign up?
Oh, no, I'm just an idiot. Yeah, Necropotence, okay.
I
saw her in chat.
Yeah, he was here earlier.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, of course she must have signed up. She's in chat. Right. Bailite, can you pretend that you're Necro for this tournament, so don't have to fix anything, and just whenever you say Necro's name, that's you. All right. We have Bailite that is officially Necro. Okay, sorry. So we have Bailite versus Einstein.
Okay. So Necropotence, to confirm, is not playing today?
I do not see her. Well, I see her in chat, but I don't.
I assume she is because she's in chat and she was like hyping it up like she's gonna play.
Oh, but she didn't submit a thing. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like 100% sure she wants to play.
No, she sent me a deck, but she has not put together. I don't understand, man. Okay, no, she sent me a deck. Now that I think about it, she did send me a deck. She has not put together a submission form for reasons, but I'm assuming that she's playing, so we'll have 11 players.
I can drop out.
Well, hey, is it possible to do this, Red Mage? Can we? I mean, someone's got to have a buy if we're going to be at 11 players because we don't have Bailite in there. If Necropotence has got to fill out that form, why don't we say, like in Necro, just say if you can't do this, why don't we have you fill out that form, give you the buy if Bailite's fine with that, and then put Bailite in round 1 and then give Necro the buy. I don't know if that's viable or not.
It's fine. I'll just repair. I already added her, and we'll do it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
And
get ye old show on the road, as it were.
Yeah. No, I repaired. I sent a new thing. So now we have Luca versus Loring, Neisan versus Einstein, Necro versus Hendral, which we cannot show, Blahguy versus Asmallpotato, and Rarer versus Bailite.
Alrighty.
Anybody that you feel like taking a look in particular to?
Everyone's still in this room right now, so I was going to ask you who's playing what. But I don't want to do that to give away people's secrets. Is Hendral is new to the event, right?
Yeah,
but
we cannot show Hendral because they
right.
don't have hand cam.
Okay, let's do Blahguy versus Small Potato. I'm interested in that.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
All right, so Blahguy and the Small Potato,
first.
you please hang out while we set up hand cams and stuff. Everybody else go away.
Just your track. I think they jumped over to a separate room, but we can jump in there and let them know.
I'm gonna call them real quick.
Alrighty. Yeah, I don't know what a Small Potato is on. Blahguy assumes on Rakdos. They're a pretty big Rakdos fan.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of curious. What else we got today? So we got Time Vault combo. Hendral, I have no clue what they'd be on, but Necro's on Time Vault. RarerMonsters has a pretty big range. They tend to like mid-range decks or graveyard-based decks from my playing against them. Bailite, Abzan, pretty much always. I think they played Sultai against me once. Luca v. Loading. What's Loading? Loading's on Black Tech. Luca has a pretty decent range. I've seen him play Pod. I've seen him play...
He's been playing Ninjas recently, and my god, can people please pick up this stupid thing so that... You know what? Let me do this real quick. Okay, have people picked up? No, they haven't. Maybe they don't know that they are... Alright. Also, if Injunjoe wants to hang out in the booth and do commentary and help Loman with commentary, that's definitely something we could appreciate. Alright. I have a Small Potato screen. I don't have Blahguys, but we can probably get the show on the road for now. And
Hey, Redmay, just your track. I just jumped in there and talked to them. They're both jumping in right now. If we could, I'd be kind of jump over to the game. I think they should be getting into the Google Hangout call right now.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, they are in the game now, so I can actually start showing it. They had not started the game yet. Alrighty. And we have a game. I'm gonna set up hand cams real quick, and but in the meantime, we can see. Okay, so this is a Small Potato. Oh, and now I have Blahguy too. Perfect.
That looks like a tokens deck of some variety with equipment in it.
Yes.
One of the interesting things that's kind of been happening recently is you see a lot more equipment getting played because Stoneforge Mystic has gone to 0 points, which I think is good. And I think it's also right in a lot of the decks that have creatures that can outclass pretty quickly. This looks like an acceptable hand. I can't see the whole of the hand. If it's only a 1-lander, maybe it's a mulligan. Yeah, that could go wrong. Yeah, okay, as a Mox, all right, they're fine. That's a fine hand to keep. Yeah, I would want a second land in that hand to make it something I'd be happy to keep. That's also a Miri with the alt art on it. They obviously love their cats. They have their
there wasn't a Rabo in the hand before, so
they're on cat tribal then. Some sort of cat-based deck.
It might be some sort of cat-based deck, yeah. I think it wasn't a Rabo. Maybe I'm just dumb, but like I thought that's what I saw it.
Yeah, this Miri is a card that like is kind of interesting, right? Like it they're playing against Sui Black. Sui Black, I'm sorry, it's Black Tech, but that looks like a Sui Black hand.
No, this is Rakdos, right?
Oh, Black, I'm sorry, yeah, it's Rakdos. It's Rakdos, yes. I just like saw the 4 cards, but that looks like Sui Black.
Yeah, no, there's some red cards. Here's the red cards. There you go.
All right, well, the Flame Slash is going to eat this Mother of Runes because I don't think their deck beats a Mother of Runes very easily.
If it untops, no.
No, you get to use it. It's a good card. That is an Oresco Swift Spear, a 3/1 for 2.
Literally Blade of the Six Pride with no...
it's got good art.
Yeah. Blade of the Six Pride was, which is a cat, was in fact the first vanilla 3/1 at common that they printed for 2 mana.
Yeah, they're fine cards. I mean, like they die to a lot, but they're good
Yeah,
cards.
they do have an unfortunate tendency to not be alive for very long, but
Yeah, i.e. old Dark Blast.
oh god.
I heard you like to play Magic. All right, this is gonna get through. I would assume you offer up this trade.
Yeah.
They're
I'm not even
take it.
necessarily opposed to taking it, although there is this sort of
No,
if you get to
here's
put
my
this,
thing. If I'm on the Rakdos side and I see an Oresco Swiftclaw, do you know what I'm thinking in my head? I'm thinking they're on a deck that wants to have that card type, that cat. So they're not going to trade me. Like,
oh hey,
you
there's
may
a
actually
Mink
leave
in
something
shot.
back.
Hi Mink, welcome to the shot.
Oh, Xrilla, hello. Yeah, if you play a card like that, like if you play like a Fleecebane Lion, like folks, you know, be like, okay, that's high enough card quality, like high enough independent card
Yeah, like
quality.
this,
Like,
it's
you
a hand
play
that
that in, like,
you
a
would
deck.
think about
Yeah.
somebody who'd put in their deck, you know?
Yeah, but like Oresco's, you're like, okay, there's a synergy here. Like alarm bells are you doing something with cats, or you're doing like something with like what's that card called? Like the glyphs, Mungadai something glyphs.
Oh,
Like,
Muraganda Petroglyphs.
that's right. Yeah, that card. I tried building that deck. It's so bad.
You only have one Muraganda Petroglyphs. That card is hard to make work in 60 cards. Where you have four.
But I mean, it's just Canadian Highlander again. Like, I just want to build interesting stuff. Like the good decks. We were talking about this actually in the chat in the voice channel before we started the stream. Like, you know, you want to play games of Canadian Highlander to win, but like sometimes you build to just have some fun, right? And because like at the end of the day, like there's probably like 5 best decks in the format, like archetypes that are like just the best. And you know they can get boring after a while. You want to do something new and do something cool, and like you know, cats is a primary example of it. But doing like petroglyphs is like another example of like just a dream that is probably a meme. But like you put enough elbow grease into it, you know, you'll probably lose a bunch in the beginning, but you'll find a way to make it work. You know,
You'll win a game at some point eventually.
well, no, like my thing is like you know petroglyphs. Like you could be like an Anthem Stompy deck, like just like all the Bonds Goblin Raiders in the world, and then like just you know throw out like a bazillion Crusades and a petroglyphs, which is a massive crusade. You know, there's Mink. Mink's saying copy enchantment. Yes, you could. That is a thing you could do.
You now you have mirror mated too. We are now officially at 4 different cards that can copy enchantment.
Yeah, so. I think this is going to slide out of control for cats here. This is a Skull Clamp with numerous 2/1 bodies that will. You know, you're obviously not trading here, but
I mean, the sort of Fire and Ice is their way to possibly hedge up with it eventually, but they do not have a land, and it's gonna take approximately 78 turns for it to be a thing.
Yeah, it's just I don't even think you play the sword. Next turn, I think you play out the Miri. The first striking thing that makes it so they can't block easily is pretty good.
Yeah.
They don't attack, so they want to be able to block, is what they're saying. The thing is, Small Potato won't attack into this. Small Potato is just looking for a mana source here. That was a good draw. That's exactly what they want to see: is a plains, a forest, an untapped land. Yeah, I could see playing Miri or playing out. So if folks are from they have different art. They have altered art in their deck. The whatever that release was.
The Omg Kitties one, right?
That's right. Yeah, the kitties release.
It's fine. I have it.
3/2 first striking legendary creature that when it attacks, each opponent can only block 1 creature, and if it is tapped, each opponent can only attack you with 1 creature. That's you though, so you can actually attack planeswalkers with multiple creatures, which is like this weird.
You can also attack other players in case that's relevant.
Yeah, well,
Thalia
it's a commander
is also
card.
really
Almost.
good, right? Like Thalia.
I think Thalia is just a better card than Miri is, generally speaking.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, the Thalia that is on the field is. Hi, Taste.
It's a
welcome to the shot, and I mean, don't worry about it. It happens. At least you didn't sign up and then no show this week, so I appreciate you. I appreciate you not doing that.
Miri's an interesting card. Like I've tried playing it in like 4-color blood variants. I've never. It always seemed good on paper, but like it just dies to so much, and I've never really had it like just kind of do exactly what I wanted to do in like a non-tribal variety deck or like just an aggressive mid-range deck. That's a good draw. I need land for it, but probably just play out Miri here and then hope to like just beam them to death next turn.
Oh,
They're not going to be blocking very well.
Somebody might have. We might have a new contender might have entered the field. We might. So TasteTheBeams in chat was writing to me saying like, hey, maybe I should sign up. And I think that the way I'm gonna arbitrate is that if they want in, since we have 11 players.
Yeah, get in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna still give Injunjoe the win for this round, but so they're gonna get a round 1 loss, but.
If they want to play.
But yeah, I mean, it just makes it easier to.
So this game is.
To not have.
I'm trying to figure out if this game's over. I'm pretty sure this game's over next turn. It depends on like if they attack. Blahguy attacks here. If Blahguy only leaves one creature back to block, and he can cast his Palace Jailer, the game just ends. All right, they're gonna draw, which makes sense to me. Drawing makes sense. My greatest weakness is a red variety deck. or in the siege towers everywhere. A bunch of first striking things. Oh no. Yeah, it's tough too. Like Blahguy flooded a bit in the beginning of this game, and Small Potato mana screwed a bit in this game. And in general, like that tends to go one way. The player who draws out a screw first is going to win.
Screwbit's flat in general, right? That's kind of.
Oh, and they just have higher. Like shockingly enough to say, like they have higher card quality. Maybe excepting the Oresco Swiftclaw, but you know.
I mean, I'm sure that they have some dog shit cards
in
their deck too,
okay. They drew the land. Well, this is big, so they drew the land. Now they can Palace Jailer the clamped up thing, and then just attack with all. Put them to 2. Force them to trade with the Oresco Swiftclaw. And have the Monarchy, and they can only be attacked back with one thing, and the Palace Jailer can block it. It seems like a good spot to be in, right?
Yeah, it ain't bad. It ain't bad. Yeah. In general, if I have a choice, I like being the guy with the Palace Jailer.
Yeah, well, typically, so Miri is doing a really good job here, right? Because typically, Miri's very relevant because typically when you cast a Palace Jailer on this sort of board, like you get attacked back and they steal it, and you just trade the Monarchy back and forth. Miri's going to make it unless they draw a removal where like they can attack him, but like the Palace Jailer just blocks the one thing they're able to attack with because Miri's on the board and trades off with it more than likely because all these creatures are small. And yeah. So.
I think given what's going on, I'm gonna change the name of this deck on screen to Cats and Taxes.
Yeah, it looks like more just cats.
That's Italia. It's fine. It counts.
Yeah, that Thalia is more just a straight beating.
Well, speaking of Blade of the Sixth Pride, there she is.
Yeah, there it is. Glory. There's also the big cat in there. I don't know what that something sovereign.
There's a few.
The hands
is that the Lord you were talking about?
Yeah, it's a Lord. Yeah, it's a Lord. That hand was unkeepable though. This hand I would keep. It's got a Lone Lion that it can cast. It's got removal. It's got the double Savannah Lions draw, and you got an Aether Vial. The Vial's why I keep it though. Lions. Yeah, the only problem is like if they do get, I don't think they're gonna get Thoughtseized turn 1. I think.
I have never seen this card before in my life. King of the Pride.
Yeah, it makes every Savannah Lions a double Savannah Lions. It puts a Savannah Lion on top of your cats.
I mean, that sounds great. Don't get me wrong.
Oh no! Why did they lead on? Oh, because they have Dragon Skull Summit. Their mana is awkward. Oh. One of the downsides to Rakdos is your mana can sometimes be really bad.
Yeah.
And here they weren't able to play a turn 1 threat. I don't think Thought Seizing turn 1 would have been right. I think you want to play a threat here. Now they should
doing its best Monsters Goblin Rider impression because there is no forest inside, so that is
but it's good. It's fine though because you have this Cat Lord. The Cat Lord is going to make it huge.
Yeah, I mean, if you also had a forest though, it would be a 4/4.
Now the big question is like this Mother of Runes is just like going to have to get Dreadboard. So they're not going to get to Thoughtseize.
You violate the Mother of Runes, right? You just play like
That's
one
true.
of your stupid cards and then end of turn violate the Mother of Runes so she's not vulnerable to.
Yeah, I'm just curious how it works out.
Oh no, never mind. That's not.
I think this makes sense to force their hand. They just don't want to get run over. Their mana development sucks. Are they going to do it main phase? Interesting.
I
Okay.
don't know that I agree with that, but
Yeah, I mean that's an option, right? But the other thing is too, like they could just want to force the removal out of their hands and stop their threat development because like they have to dreadbore here. Like you don't not dreadbore, but you're also not playing threats and you're trading off on board and you're not allowing your opponent's deck, which is far more well set up to win in the early game than you're not far more, but is more well set up to win in the early game than your deck is to trade off resources so you can draw the mana. And it's keeping them off of actually enacting their tempo game plan. Like they're going to spend 2 mana to kill a 1 mana card, which they have to do because that 1 mana card is just really good. It kind of invalidates a lot of their deck, but like, I don't mind trading the Mother of Runes for a 2 mana removal spell.
Fair enough.
I'm not saying it's right. Like I still think you do Vile in the Mother of Runes EOT because it's that valuable. But
yeah, that's the flip side in my opinion. It's just that like
I'll tell you the flip side.
The Mother of Runes, because it invalidates so much of their deck, you kind of put them in a position when once you have an active Mother of Runes, the Dreadbore in their hand doesn't do anything. No, and don't get me wrong. Like I'm making this whole case like just to give the devil's advocate, the counter argument to like why you would do this. I don't think it's right. I think I'd still put the Mother of Runes in. I'd play the cat and just put the Mother of Runes in off the vial. But I think there's a counter argument. I mean, they have to Dreadbore here. Like, you just have to. Like, you're just obliged. You can't let your opponent attack with the Mother of Runes. That's just...
You're obliged 100% to kill that stupid thing. Because it will be a problem. The big question is going to be, what do you do on the following turn? I think you have to play more creatures out. That's a land. That land draw was really big.
Yeah, the land draw was huge. Now you can go... you can drop the Loam Lion or the Blade. Probably the Loam Lion.
Yeah, I'd play the Loam Lion. It blocks really well. It's got a big ass.
It does. The only argument is to whether you want to be mana efficient, because you can play the Blade and flash in the Leonin Relic Warder, but
I want to block. I want to block here. Like I want to set up to block because like at this point they've got more card resources. They got more mana. They know their opponent's out of mana. They know their opponent's mana is kind of screwy because they didn't do anything with it turn one. So they probably know they drew into like the Zergo or whatever. That was a good draw though. That turns their one mountain into a swamp if they want it to be. That actually allows them to play out their whole hand. So they can get this pride, this lion king. Which kind of stinks. I was kind of hoping to see the Lion King come out. I want to see.
I got to see on Small Potato Screen their YouTube playlist. They're listening to Seasons Cast, the podcast that Wilco, I think. It's a Discord person.
Yeah, something they run.
Yeah. It is run by. Why is it not in the Highlander content thing? I'll figure this out.
bad mana never drew the like,
never.
Mink. Like Graven cards is like one of those cards that like you are like 100%, not 100%, but like you're generally forced to play in like 2-color aggressive decks that are black and red. But you're generally not happy to see it early. Right now we are. Like when you're playing it turn 1 or turn 2, it just kind of feels bad. It just always leads to like weird mana situations. But it's a necessity, and it's one of the cards you got to work with. I mean, as time's gone on, though, like these 2-color aggro decks have gotten a lot better mana. You got like Prismatic Vista now, you got quite a bit going on. So they've pretty much done all the things they can do with their hand, and now they're off the top deck. Right now we're in a stalemate, but I think eventually Cats is going to draw the stuff it needs. I think it's playing higher, like I think it's playing overall higher card quality. Now that said, like there's
it's just
a 3/3. There's a 3/3. It's just like good against like the deck.
Yeah,
but there's more playing. But
it's just like the way that these aggro matchups works is the deck is like a little slower and a little bigger. It often has the advantage because the creature are gonna just outperform the opponent.
Yeah, it's aggro versus mid range is how you like generally like tend to look at it or assess it. I mean, like the Cat deck's not really like a true blue like mid range deck, but it's in this matchup it plays the mid range deck.
Yeah, it's like an aggro mid range deck. Like it's kind of like in that sense. And like the way that it works out is that in Magic you usually want to be either a lot faster than your opponent or a little slower than your opponent, and
when you jump up like when your standard jumps by 2, your matchup tends to get worse if you're like the control deck versus the aggro deck. But yeah, I think like the Rakdos deck could
too much slower.
You're off the game. You're off the game by the way, on this stream.
I am. Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
There you go.
Put it back.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of
I
the cards
hope
they
I
could draw
didn't
though.
miss much. I'm trying to figure out
No,
how to make
there's
the.
a draw on both sides is all we missed. That said, like Anchor's Rampage is not really the card they were looking for, but like the Rakdos deck does have like Judith, the Scourge Diva, in their deck, which is a card that could easily get them out of this. I don't know if they're running any aristocrat style effects like Goblin
To be fair,
Sharpshooter.
Angla's Rampage does kill the Vial,
Yeah,
which
but I don't think
does.
Vial already did its job. Vial already did its job, man.
If that does
Yeah.
strand the Lion King in their hand if they don't draw a land eventually.
Well, the Lion King got discarded. That's a new lion. It's a 3/3. It's basically a 3/3 that has indestructible for 2 mana, white and green, and then it comes back as an enchantment on a creature, and you can pay white green to give it indestructible. So it's just a 3/3, which a 3/3 right now is very good.
Oh yeah.
Because all of those cards are 2/1s and 2/2s. So the 2/3 and the 3/3 are just like, hey, bud,
yeah,
what are
it
you gonna
turns
do?
out just heavy. Like they would have drawn Watchwolf, and it turns out it would have been good enough in this.
There's the Prowling Serpapard, which is a sick card.
Yeah, that's also a 3/4. Speaking of cards with like big buds.
4/3. 4/3.
4/3. That's actually worse in this scenario somehow.
Three is a good number in this situation. I mean, like they have to draw Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning. Maybe they have Incinerate. They may have like the trifecta of 3 damage instant speed burn spells.
Prowling Serpapard is a cat.
Yeah, it is a cat. It is a cat, snake, leopard thing.
Don't worry about it. This is clearly a cat.
It's a pretty cute card. Look at that thing.
It is.
Why it makes things uncounterable, I don't know. I don't know what the lore is on that. Someone was saying there's like some lore on that. Like a Serpapard is actually like
I'm sure
a
it's
mythological
an actual
animal.
thing in Egyptian mythology. I don't think they would have just come up with like a random cat snake.
Oh, Mink, you're 100% right. I think taking out the Vial is 100% correct there. I don't mind your line. I don't mind playing out the 3/3 either though, because like honestly, you can start attacking at this point if you wanted to. But you don't have to. Like you can just wait around. The cat's deck is going to draw lands, and when they draw lands, they're going to cast these spells, and these spells just kind of all beat like what's going on the board. Yeah. I like this attack though too. I don't think it's wrong to attack here. I think I may have attacked the turn prior just to like be like, hey, trade for it. And then I mean the 2 of the creatures on board can't block, so they have to block with their Zombo token and their 2 or their 1/2.
Yeah, and you can also just activate, right? Like if they go for the double block, we're like, make this guy indestructible.
Yeah. Yep. All of that is true. There is
the guy does have an ability. They draw a Pouncing Lynx, which is a magic card, I'm told.
Yeah. It's a 2/1. This is just creature. This is basically like this is one of the cool things about Highlander too. Like we're essentially like almost watching like really aggressive draft magic here.
Yeah.
Which when I say draft magic, like people would automatically think I mean bad magic. It's not like draft like playing good draft games is good magic too. Like, but it is just like watching like just 2 curved decks like just slam into each other, and it's kind of just like basics, just the basics of magic.
This card was actually not even good in its own draft format, to be honest.
Well, most 2/1s and like 3/1s are pretty bad in most draft sets, right? I mean, like right? Because I mean, like every deck is just gonna like not have the right enough of a density of them plus burn spells to close out games. Well, so it's like when you don't have enough burn.
I think the main problem that Pouncing Lynx had in War of the Spark draft was the white mana symbol in the top right. You just could not really have white in this format.
Fair. But you get what I'm saying. Like, there's a vast difference between like honestly like it's funny, right? Like I remember I played like what is it? Some sort of workshops deck with like just a white weenie, a curved tech white weenie deck. Like, and like the workshops deck, it was like a stacks deck, like couldn't beat it because it's just not set up to play against creatures, So it's like, it just wasn't. It was set up to like have its creatures kill you, but they just couldn't fight like first striking creatures and a bunch of like grounds idiots that cost like no mana, So it's like, there's value in a lot of things in Magic, right? I think these kind of fights are definitely cool. That's a good one to draw though, right there. That's a flyer, which cats, they can jump, they cannot fly.
Well, not with that attitude.
Yeah, well, your cat's flying.
Doesn't Prowler
No, does not have reach. Does not have reach. It's just a 4/3. It's just a 4/3.
You tend to
it makes things accountable.
What has or has not reached these days. Some creatures have randomly reached. My favorite reach creature is Warbreaker, because reach is like 4 lines of rule sticks down the card. So you like...
That's so cruel though to like get someone with it. Like, you know what other one gets people sometimes is because it has a lot of words on it. Not coiling. What's it called? The X spell. Coiling something.
Stone Cold Serpent.
That one, yeah. Stone Coil Serpent. It's an X spell, XX creature that has like a bazillion abilities on it. One of which is reach. Card's pretty good. You can also find it off of Ranger Captain of Eos or basically any of the creature tutors. That is true. It does have reach, but it's not an archer. A lot of archers that also don't have reach.
At the very least, in Stone Cold Serpent case, reach is literally the first card, the last. The first word card.
But it's kind of also like a questing beast, right? Where it just has so many words that like people miss one or two of them, you know?
Yeah, what a questing beast. I'm assuming it does everything. Can it be countered? Who knows?
Yeah.
Does it have reach? I don't know. Does it have
it's not
trample?
often.
I don't think so.
Talking about this game though, it's not often that you see like literal board stall.
Yeah,
like literal board stall. Like normally it's like, you know, you see like, you know, a little bit of incremental advantage gained here or there, and then like someone just overwhelms the other person. Not like, what am I doing now? Like, can I attack?
Well,
can I attack? I have to do a ton of combat math. Can I attack?
I had the last time I faced one of those cards, one of those like big cards that become indestructible. It was in draft. And I beat it because I had a Shadow Spear, and my opponent kept activating to make it indestructible. It was like, activate Shadow Spear to make it indestructible. And that is how the game ended up working out. Eventually managed to trade for it, and they had picked up like 7 auras, or not 7, but like a bunch of auras. So we managed to like make this like horrible triple block that ended up being like a 4/4/3 in my favor, or something stupid like that.
Yeah. I mean, you got to get in there with the Smuggler's Copter. It's just what you got to do.
Yeah, the Smuggler's
I don't think this burn spell matters that much. I mean, you can kill a thing, but like...
Yeah, kill the 3/3.
They become indestructible.
Yeah, that is indestructible.
Yeah. You can kill the Loam Lion, but like, with where Small Potato's at right now, they'll just trade off some of their cats for some of the goofballs, or they won't. They'll just, if the crack coming in, if they try to attack for damage here, I guess they can't. They'd have to just attack with the Smuggler's Copter to draw to something good, like draw to a Judith. Like, I would just turn one of the non-blockers sideways and try to find a Judith. You know,
yeah, Judith is probably the best tool that they have to break this board open.
That's why I mentioned it. I think Judith will beat this board. Like, it'll
their mana can't really support. Their mana. Their deck can't really support the Mayhem Devil, right?
No, they're not an Aristocrats deck.
Yeah.
But Judith is a card that you don't have to play an Aristocrats.
Yeah, no,
like, it's good Aristocrats. It's good. It's
Judith
very good
aggro
next to you.
Yeah.
This Figure of Destiny is not bad though. Like, there's a world in which a 4/4 in this world is not bad, right? It blocks.
Yeah, it also has First Strike itself, you know, like.
Well, Figure of Destiny does not. Figure of Destiny has First Strike when it becomes an 8/8 flyer.
Oh, only when it becomes an 8/8. I thought it had I thought it became
which rarely comes up, but it can. It probably.
I thought it only gained it when it reached the 4. I thought it
becomes a 2/2, then it becomes a 4/4, then it becomes an 8/8 First Strike flying. First Strike flying, yeah.
I thought it was 2/2, then 4 for First Strike, then 4 for First Strike flying.
I think I like a pretty aggressive attack here. I don't think you need to hang back. I think you can trade off resources right now. Like, they're all forced block. They're not all forced blocks, but a lot of them are forced blocks. You also have this Stirring Wildwood, which can now block the Copter. Although if they were to want to leave that option up, it would also take them off of regeneration. Yeah, I like attacking with all the 3/1s. Like, these 3/1s are like not blocking that well. Like, force bad blocks on this end. Don't give them time. Is kind of my thinking.
I remember my crap. I forgot the point I was trying to make. Sorry, Lowman. Please go ahead.
I think here you want to attack with at least 3 of these creatures, if not more. Like, I'd probably send Savannah Lions, the Blade of the Ninth Pride, the Charsicle or Carsicle, however you say that. 6, sure. Like, I'm not gonna, guys. I'm not gonna remember these card names. Like, I haven't played with these cards since I was playing them in draft, so that's not a bad one. But like, what does it do?
It discards the Serpapard and kills some random idiot, I guess.
Yeah, could do that.
What's on the Relic Warder? Is it the Mox?
Just a Mox. It's not useful.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the Mox, I guess, actually, the Mox could be useful. If you're going to, like, put your Figure of Destiny to a 4/4, and you get the Mox back, and then you land, you could possibly make it an 8/8 and find a tempo line to win with it.
Yeah.
Sure. This again is kind of why I was thinking like there should have been more attacks last turn, just to force more trades on board. Yeah, just get them to trade. Get them to trade resources. Because now this Figure of Destiny brick wall is the 3/3. It actually brick walls the board, pretty well. So things may have just gotten interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, things may have gotten interesting. Yeah.
So now I guess the Cats player, their goal at this point is just build up a board where they can just push the last 7 damage in.
Well, they can't wait around forever. The Cats player can't. And anytime they're using their mana, they're taking themselves off of being able to activate Stirring Wildwood, which means that their opponent's going to get in for... they're just going to YOLO it. Just send it all. Like, if they're firing that up right now, they're just going ham. Just attack with everything.
Yeah, this K command is going to have something to
Which I think this should have happened a turn prior. Like, if this had happened a turn or two prior, like, their opponent doesn't have blockers. A lot of these creatures can't block, and their opponent's left in a position where, like, they really don't have the ability to... They lose blockers, right? Because, like, the Smuggler's Copter is harder to activate when you have less creatures, blah, 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 blah. Should have played the land first. Yeah, they should have. It activate the pride.
I think it doesn't matter. They win on this turn or they don't, right? Like that's the.
Well, the Kolaghan's Command is going to get something, right? So like this is going to fire up the Kolaghan's Command.
I know, but like I think that if they don't win this turn, they just lose on the spot, right? Like that. That's
no, we're not losing on the spot. No, I don't think they're dead on the spot.
Isn't the crackback lethal?
Well, they have to block so much that like it's not going to be a lethal crackback, right?
Oh, yeah,
but
that's fair.
You know, my point is like no, they're not dead. I mean, they're not in a great position, but like they're not dead. Like they're probably still like 50-50. The Smuggler's Copter is the biggest problem on the board. That is the biggest problem on the board. The Figure of Destiny could eventually become just like, excuse the language, fucking huge, like, which is why we're seeing this attack happen now.
I remember when they printed like the new Figure of Destiny, Worgen of the First Three, in and you would play that card in Abzan, Aggro, and Standard, and it turns out that the last ability on that card you can actually use multiple times. So
yeah, it becomes huge. Yeah,
I remember having that guy with a. Like being like a 13/13 or something absurd, and my opponent be like, "What am I supposed to do about that?"
Yeah, no, it's mana sinks are pretty good. That card doesn't see a lot of play in this format. I haven't played it in a while. All right, well, land probably gonna.
It just costs more to activate, and also green just isn't as an aggressive color in the same way that. So it has different problems. The first one is that green isn't an aggressive color in the same way that white or red are. The second is that Figure of Destiny, you can stay on color, whether Warden of the First Day you need either to be green-white or green-black, or both. So it's...
So this game's over, right? So we Kolaghan's Command this. Get back the Mox. And we're taking exactly 7. Yeah, game's over.
I see, okay. So the attack was lethal even with the K command.
Yeah, Bailite. Yeah, I mean, like, it's not a crazy card to try to play. Like, I think Hex Drinker is just better. Like, it's just because it's more mana efficient.
Yeah, Hex Drinker is better.
This card's been around longer than Hex Drinker, and folks haven't played it a bunch. It's a lot of mana, right? Like, it's just a lot of mana. Which I mean,
mana intensive for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's like a very strong argument to like having good mana sinks in a deck for like going long, but like I feel like there's a lot of cards that can just end games that cost far less mana, so like you could be sinking your mana into those better cards, as opposed to like playing this card. I don't know, like I don't know, maybe I'm just like, maybe I should try it out, maybe I should build a deck with running it.
I mean,
that's my point too. That's my point too. That's my point too. Bailite is that the middle ability is just like it doesn't really do anything. It just gets trample and lifelink, and I'm like, oh great, it's a 3/3 with trample and lifelink. It still dies to lightning bolt, and I put 7 mana into it at that point.
Does black mold run this card?
No, God, no.
I mean,
nope.
I don't know.
I don't know. No, it's too slow. It's too slow. You'll run like the Hex Drinko. You run like the 2/1 that costs like 4 or 5 to like make a 4/4 that can only be blocked by one creature with trample. Yep. So this one's over. The kitty cats got there. Lethal
Let's
attack.
see if there's anything else going on in our lobby.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So kind of as expected. I didn't know that they'd be on Selesnya. Selesnya cats. Obviously, like the Rakdos deck is pretty good. But like red decks and like Rakdos decks are going to tend to struggle with like green-white mid-range decks.
Yeah.
Just not a great matchup generally, just because like the creatures are about as efficiently costed and they're big. They're just really big, and
they're bigger than yours.
Yeah, they fight well, and they're generally around the same rate. So anytime you're spending the same amount of mana for a spell and it does less or does more, you're going to have a matchup imbalance, right? So pretty tough. Okay.
So
yeah, that's true. Bailite, their creatures also can block, unlike the red and black creatures. The red and black not known for their blockers. Although like Rotting Regisaur can block pretty well.
Yes, that is accurate. But
yeah.
So has everybody reported?
That was a fast round.
There is one more match.
Oh,
but it's not public.
Oh, okay. I see. That's unfortunate.
Alrighty.
So while we wait, I want to remind everybody that I want to remind everybody that if they want to join the 10th point for future weeks, exclamation point Discord in chat will get you to the Discord, which is a great hub to both get in touch with the tournament organizers, or in this case, tournament organizer, it's still flying mostly solo in terms of TOing these things, but that's hopefully going to change in the near future. And on the other... and also in terms of, getting help with the format as a whole, getting set up, getting your deck build, helping how to, get started on Magic Online, and all of that jazz. If you want also exclamation point next poll, will get you to just the next week sign up poll. That sign up survey that you can just fill the form and send me your deck for the thing. Here at the 10th point, we try our best to bring you a new tournament every week, if at all possible. We. Yeah, I mean, this season has been probably our most successful so far. We want to keep it going. I don't want to be too much of a shield, but if you're watching this show and enjoying it, maybe consider dropping us a sub. We can look at it that way. And that's gonna help me bring you more refined content in the future, maybe. Okay, let's
Do we still have gameplay going on right now, Red Mage?
We have a game going, but they haven't they directly challenge each other, so they're not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I can't spectate on it. What I'm gonna do,
do you mind if I drop the deck database that I'm working on in the chat?
Oh yeah,
for
please.
Folks to check out.
By all means, go ahead. Plug yourself.
Well, it's not really plugging me. I don't make money off the decks, guys. It's just I like to build decks. I like to build a lot of decks, and I like to build decks across a wide array of different archetypes. But I'm certainly no expert in all of them. So I do think they are pretty good lists. There is a deck database with a bunch of decks. I think I'm over 100 now. I may be just under 100. I forget. But twofold. Like one, if you're newer to the format or just interested in getting into the format, there's some good decks to just be like a launching pad for ideas to kind of make them your own. If you want to change them, please do so. But also to kind of ask some of the folks who are format specialists in, like Abzan, for instance, for Bailite, or like Goblins for Mingstrella, who's in chat, or Rakdos Aggro, which is a deck I have in there for Blahguy, to definitely take a look at the archetypes that they're probably the most familiar with and let me know what I got wrong in the deck, or maybe what I got right, or all of that, because I would like to make it a wealth of information for both veterans and new folks to the format. Just a wealth of information in one kind of spot. That's kind of the idea behind it, is just to have more Canadian Highlander information out there, because it is, as a niche format, a little tougher to kind of get a good grasp of like what all can be done with the format, and maybe like what it is that you want to do in the format. So thank you.
Okay, well, while we wait, let me plug in the results that we do have into the database. So okay, sorry. We had some people trying to figure out exactly how things were working in terms of the Hangouts calls, and yeah, actually, I should disconnect from the holds as well. Okay, so we had.
I like Blahguy's commentary in the Discord chat. My 1-mana 2/2s cowered beneath the might of the 2-mana 3/3s.
Yeah, 2-mana 3/3 Watch Wolf, completely unbeatable magic card once it is nerf. So we had a small potato on 2-0, right? The match that we just watched, is that finished 2-0?
That was a 2-0. Yeah, that was 2-0.
Okay. And then we have Luca versus Loading.
Loading is 2-0.
Loading is 2-0. And do we have this Neisan versus Einstein finish, and did Neko versus
Yes, Einstein is 2-0.
Einstein 2-0. And we're still waiting on Neko versus Hendral, right?
Yeah. And you have Bailite, yeah?
Yeah. Bailite posted earlier, so I had that. He won 2-0 over there. So actually,
what?
Have we figured out? So I see that in chat people are talking about aristocrats, right? I was wondering if how people feel in terms of because I know that there's, grossly speaking, like 3 major build of aristocrats, which are Mardu, Abzan, and Mardu, John, and like 4 colors. And I was wondering if the 4-color build is still is the 4-color build considered the better build?
No. So here's my thing, man. Like, I think if you Aristocrats is a deck that you play because you want to play Aristocrats. The build the Aristocrats have taken to, in my opinion, the extreme, just turns into a really good, lean, aggressive deck that has the good Aristocrats cards, the already good aggressive Aristocrats cards in it, and then just cuts all of the other engine style Aristocrats cards, because it makes it a more coherent, and generally speaking, Aristocrats not a fast deck. But it makes it capable of staying relevant versus combo decks like Storm, just gonna kill you by turn 4 because your deck is trying to gain value through sacrificing creatures. It's slow as hell and you just die, right? But if you're gonna play Aristocrats, I think it's really tough, right? People are what's the best build of Aristocrats? And I recently started kind of working through a lot of different builds of Aristocrats, and they all have reasons to play them. I think one of the better Goblins decks is actually an Aristocrats deck, and it takes some parts of Aristocrats and puts in their zombies, vampires. I think a lot of those tribal decks that don't really have the support they need to be good tribal decks are made a lot better by putting in some elements from Aristocrats.
You add some Aristocrats card to them.
Yeah, and randomly enough, a lot of the cards that are kind of the people consider the draft shaft Aristocrats cards that die and become a 1/1 after they die, or vampire zombies and shit like that. So it's it randomly works out that you're trying to put these tribal decks together. You can actually put a lot of Kratz synergies in them. You're on a full born Kratz deck, but you have some of that going on in there, so you can kind of accrue some value because your cards kind of are a little worse. But given they're a little worse, they do a thing, they die and come back as another thing, and that can be used to provide value. So Kratz is there's a lot of builds of it, right? You can build it in a ton of ways. The only type of Kratz I have not seen is a blue Kratz deck. I've never seen blue be used in a Kratz deck, but I assume you probably can do it. I don't think there's.
I haven't seen it either. To be
I don't think there's a definitive best version. I think there's a lot of different versions of it that have pretty different matchup variety.
Loading just posted Reef Worm, all caps.
What's that?
Reef Worm is a 1/1
It's
for
the
4
one that dies into a
becomes
3/3.
That's
fish.
right. Yeah. It
Six,
becomes a
it doesn't
3/3 and then like an 8/8 eventually or something. Yeah. You could.
yeah.
0-1 actually, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, you could play Reform. Like, you could. I don't know if the depth is there for it, and like, I don't know if there's like enough engine pieces for it. Sadly enough, but I guess you could do like gifts on given intuition Kratz, then like put Savine's Reclamation with like 2 Kratz cards, like an engine and an infinite loop, like kind of like Kratz combo.
Canadian
Put like
Highlander, see how
Grum
many
Grum
times you can
Gully.
cram
You
Sabine's
put like
Reclamation
no,
in
so
it.
you like put Savine's Reclamation, Grum Gully, a sack outlet, and then like if you already have like the persist creature, you can just like turn an engine on with it. Like you could do like some like Minstrel is saying it. Yeah, I mean you can use like
you have my attention.
well, it could honestly be a numerous cards. It could be like Grumgully. It could be like Anafenza, the 2-mana white one, the Kintree Spirit.
Yeah.
It could be
the
stupid the robot that makes everything come in with +1/+1 counters of a certain creature type. Like there's a lot of different cards that do that. So like the world's your oyster on those. There's a lot of them. But yeah, I guess like as we're talking about this, we're just making up like combos, right? Like Kratz is really wide, and you can play it a lot of different ways. I don't think there's like a best version of Aristocrats. Like, there's just really not. I mean, because they're just they all do something a little bit different, but similar. But like they have different advantages, right? Like you can look at some Kratz lists that have like Grave Crawlers and like Blood-Soaked Champions in them, which are not traditional like Kratz cards, but like because they clock really fast and they can still come back. They are going to generally have a better matchup percent against like control decks and against like combo decks because they kill them faster than the Kratz engine decks. And then you could have some that just have like a bazillion friggin' putrid goblins, and like that card's not that great, but like it can combo and it doesn't die very easily and it blocks really well. So against mid-rangey decks, it's going to be better because you just stay alive forever. So yeah, it's just Kratz is a weird deck.
For the round to finish, I'm gonna let you keep like entertain the people with talks over Easter egg, but I'm gonna need to use the restroom, so I'm gonna be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah, I mean, I can pontificate about decks all day long.
If somebody else wants to drop by in chat and Ryle Loman to talk about different deck types, then I'm sure that he'll appreciate that.
Yeah, there's very
I'll be right back.
Mink, I may have misspoke. I may have said Festering Goblin. I meant Putrid Goblin. Yeah, no, I think I said Putrid. I could have misspoken though. But yeah, there's a lot of decks that like I enjoy the format a lot, right? So like I build anything in it. I'll build anything I can. Okay, I was right. Cool. I mean, if I misspoke, I misspoke. I sometimes do. I am not the best with card names. You guys have come to find out. I haven't read the card flavor text on that. I'm like the worst when it comes to the more creative aspects of Magic. I'm more of the mathy poker-minded person when I played Magic. Chairstream, yeah, Chairstream. Then you get a picture of the best Magic card ever, Treywind Rider, format All-Star.
Oh, that's what
that's what it is.
Yeah, it's a Treywind Rider. Yeah.
I've been wondering for a while.
One of my favorite cards. Very fun card. What a good old card.
So you posted your database that's building. What are you working on at the minute?
Well, at the very minute I'm talking with you guys, what did I work on this morning before I jumped on this? Pox. I just built Pox. Yeah. I was talking about it at the very beginning. I was like, I don't play a lot of Pox. I don't think it's particularly good in the format, but that's never really stopped me from building something because I think a lot of times folks will just kind of hear oh, this deck's not good in the format and they'll just kind of give up on it. And that's kind of been me that's kind of been me with Pox. And then I played it this morning and I played 3 games with it and won all 3 of them. And I'm like, this deck's great. It's a lot of fun to play. I love having a Zern Orb out and sacking all my lands and casting a balance with floating mana. It's a lot of fun. I like casting a Death Cloud over the top of a bunch of shit. And to me, it's I see it almost as a challenge. It's is it ever going to be a top 5 deck in the format? Absolutely not. It's just not, doesn't have that going on for it. It's not proactive enough. The cards are just too good. But I don't know, anything. I was saying, I this deck database is a relatively new thing that I've been working on, and given world situation and whatnot, I'm at the house a lot now. So yeah, I've got about 100 decks that I put together, in the last week or so on there. So I work on a lot of different decks, anything really. If you tell me you want to see something built, I'll probably just try to build it just because I'm interested and I want to see if it can be built.
Cool.
Yeah.
When you're doing that, do you just build it and eyeball it, or do you play it a bit as well?
I fish. Some folks say like you don't need to fish. Like there's some decks I don't need to fish. Like if it's a blue deck, like if it's a blue Ancestral Recall deck, I don't need to fish it to know what it's going to do because I play so many of those decks. That's probably like if I had to sit down and like win an event today, like I probably would play a fastest Oracle pile that did not have recall but had a lot of blue cards in it. If I wanted to win, because I think it's probably one of the best decks. If I had to win, but like I don't play this format just to win.
So what would that be, an Esper one or?
No, actually, I think there's a better version of it. I think the best versions of that deck run Banadorks. I think the mana advantage is really important. I also think it opens up different point spreads. The Esper version is really good, though. I think it's a very good deck. It's very powerful. It's just a little slower. And I think the best version of it wants to have access to very, very fast proactive lines while maintaining some good, reactive kind of play to it. So yeah, it's just kind of my thinking on it. Tomb of Arabi.
Sultai.
Sultai bug. I think is probably the way to be. I think you can mix it in with a couple different shells, like a food chain shell, a pod shell. I don't think you need food chain or shell. I do like survival with it. So yeah, I think the Esper version is really good too. I just think it's a little too reactive. But it can still kill by turn 3, right? I mean, it's still quick. But yeah.
There are certain metagames in which the Esper version would have the advantage over the Sultai version then?
Oh yeah, the Esper version is going to be, well, I don't know. I have to think hard on that. Yeah, both decks are different and they're good against different things. I think the bug version is actually better against other combo decks, like in the mirrors and whatnot, 'cause it's faster. And I think, for me at least, when I look at this format, I think a lot of this format is about... You can't stop everything in this format. Like, you just can't. Like, there's just too much different stuff going on. Like, if you're, like, just a pure reactive control deck, it's very difficult. And, like, you want to have proactive lines. So I think, in general, like, if you build toward having the best reactive cards that you need to beat the stuff that beats you, but then having a very solid proactive game plan that renders the rest of whatever anyone else is doing moot, like, because you're so fast, i.e. why Storm is very good, because it renders a lot of archetypes moot. You just, like, try to play against Storm with, like, Abzan midrange, for instance, and, like, if you don't high roll your 3 discard spells in a row, like, you're probably going to lose because you're playing, like, Siege Rhinoceroses and, like, Garrix and stuff, and it's like, okay, cool, man, like, I'm going to cast this Black Lotus and win, which I'm not saying is a good thing, but it's like a thing that just exists in the format. So, like, I think mana advantage and efficiency are, generally speaking, more important than latent card advantage, which... It's like comparing basically like vintage gameplay to like draft gameplay. Draft gameplay, like 2-for-1s are king, right? And like vintage, like you just kill people, like, as efficiently as you can, and then you play like the most streamlined disruption that is the most flexible to stop anything else. It's eternal gameplay, It's just eternal gameplay.
Yeah, I mean,
how I look at it.
I feel like vintage is a format that I would say up until like couple of years ago, it was still a relatively fair format, honestly. Like, even before before 2019, right? And 2019 brought all of the bullshit. Like, it's like the format was, even the like unfair decks were moving to play more fair strategies. Like the Paradoxical Outcomes deck were moving to like play relatively more fair gameplay.
You don't want to be a deck that just straight up dies to Force of Will or Thoughtseize, right, or Wasteland, because like those will get played against you, Strip Mine, whatever. But those will all get played against you.
The problem that because of also like one of the problems is that like Mental Misstep had to be restricted because of the onslaught of new cards that was printed, and I think that ended up putting the format in a place where it makes unfair strategies better, because there's less counterplay in terms of having access to free counters. But also Force of Negation is a card, so like that started being had recently. So alright. I think that the game is over. There you go.
Okay.
Hendral 1-2-0.
Who did? Sorry?
Hendral.
Hendral 2-0. All right.
Cool. Yeah, I don't actually play Vintage very often. I don't play it at all anymore. I just lost interest in it. The games are. I don't think you're wrong. I don't know if it's more fair or less fair or whatever. I don't even know what that really means in terms of Magic. It's just like, to me, I look at Magic in terms of like, what can I do and what can't I do in a game state.
Yeah, I mean,
and games of Vintage to me have become a lot more decisive in that, like, if I do this before you can do this, the game just ends. Like, i.e., like Narset and stuff like that. And so it's like, I just kind of lost interest in it. It was like a game of Rochambeau where it's like, all right, who can kick the other person like in the genitalia as fast as they can,
Yeah, it's not.
I was like, that's
as
cool, but
unfair
I don't
as,
want to do that.
modern. It's the format is not quite as unfair as like modern is, but it's close. Which is a weird thing to say.
I just don't think fair or unfair is like really a good term to use to describe it. It's very decisive. It's very decisive. It's just like, I landed this. All right, I'm dead. Like, okay,
let me put it this way: there's a lot more. There's a lot more play for reactive strategy in Legacy.
Oh
it's
yeah,
not even it's not even like reactive. It's not even. I'm sorry. I was just saying it's not even reactive play.
We need to make the pairings different because you entered me as winning.
Oh.
I see.
Okay.
It's all just a conspiracy to make sure I don't.
It was loading 1-2-0, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's fix that real quick.
Mink brought up an interesting thing in chat. He said in Highlander, 1-mana 1/1s are more playable than in draft. You're actually 100% right, and you know why? It's kind of funny. Like, I don't know about 1/1s, but like 2/1s, like Savannah Lions or Boggy Boy, sure. The reason that those cards are more playable in Canadian Highlander than they are in draft is, one, because you have a much larger supporting cast of cards supporting them, and you're also playing Eternal, where essentially, in a way, like when you play, like, let's say you play Crusade Stompy, and you play like 3 Savannah Lions on turn 1, or 3 different varieties of Savannah Lions on turn 1. You're essentially doing the same thing that Storm does. You're basically rendering.
Before you keep going, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Do you want to watch Loading versus Einstein or Injunjoe versus Bailite?
I'll just choose one, man. Let's watch Tide versus Abzan. I want to see if Abzan can beat Tide.
Okay.
That's Injunjoe versus Bailite.
Sure.
So like when you're playing like Canadian Highlander, like in most Eternal formats, like decks do a wider variety of things than draft decks do. Draft decks just play Magic. They play creatures, they play removal spells, they play 2-for-1s. They're not doing really overpowering things. And like playing a bunch of 2/1s, like, on turn 1 is not really that powerful of a thing. But versus a deck that's not set up to deal with that because it's trying to do really powerful shit like cast Tendrils of Agony on turn 4, like, you're just going to murder them. It's the same thing. You're basically rendering their plan moot because they haven't planned to try to beat that many creatures, that many quote-unquote bad cards on turn 1, And it's kind of like you look at the Tendrils the same way. Tendrils is a bad card. Like, it's not really a good card. Like, it's just a card that exists because of all the things that support it.
There is another point, which is like, 1 mana in your constructed deck, you actually get to play. You get to play like 20 1-mana 1/1s if you want, or like 1-mana idiots with low stats. Whereas in draft, you can't quite get enough density of them to warp your deck. Around that, like,
and the bigger fact that like they're just going to play Diamond Mare on turn 2 or play Tolarian Wizard on turn 3 or whatever, like they're going to play those cards because like they're cards that are in their draft pool and they likely have them because they're commons that are going to be shaft at the end. And they'll just play them against you, like just whatever, just play a 1/3, or whatever on turn 2. It's like decks in draft are going to play those. Decks in Canadian Highlander are going to play like the best variety of 2-mana spells like Tarmogoyfs and whatnot. Like your 1 removal spell just kills them, and then like they don't have another Tarmogoyf, and they have to wait till they get to a 3 or 4 drop. So like you just overwhelm them. Whereas draft decks like are going to consist primarily of creatures, lands, and removal spells, right? Like they're not going to consist of like a bunch of cantrips and bullshit that doesn't really do anything. Just more proactive Magic. So that's kind of like why I think you see like in Eternal formats, like you can just get people with like like what people would call bad decks like Sui Black or like Crusade
One of the people in this match have not muted themselves in Hangouts, so if they would do that real quick, that would be awesome.
I need to mute myself in Hangouts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But outside of that, we should be good to go.
So moving forward, we're going to be watching High Tide, I believe. I believe Injunjoe's on High Tide. I was playing them the other night. I think I played like, was it them or was I playing someone else? I was playing someone on High Tide last night. I played like 3 or 4 games against him. I think it was Injunjoe. I'm pretty sure it was. It may have been someone else. Anyways, it's playing its High Tide. This is going to be High Tide versus Abzan. I think in general, like, Abzan's going to struggle with High Tide.
About time, somebody needs to somebody needs to stop Bailite from winning everything, right? At some point.
That doesn't look like High Tide to me. Never mind. I don't think that's High Tide.
Oh, no,
it's got
that is blue.
Tomb Stalker.
Yeah, that is like blue black control.
Blue black tempo. Tempo or control. Yeah. I would say the Tomb Stalker makes me think more so tempo.
Yeah, like a somewhat more aggressive deck of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Gush too. So that's tempo. Gush is a tempo card.
Fair
you don't normally want to return your lands in control.
No, agreed. I mean, Gash is a very powerful card.
I've played it in blue-red variants, like low range blue-red control, like just because Mystic Sanctuary is a card now, and like being able to return it is very good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah, their hand is Negate, Counterspell, Gush, Tombstalker, Nimble Obstructionist, and the blue-black check land. I can't. That's a fatal push. You probably just. I would actually leave the push. I'd save the push and just counter their next spell, whatever it might be. This should be an interesting one. Like, I do think that. All right, Bailite's hand. How good is their hand?
I mean, they have a lot of value. They have it on Earth. They have the 4/3 Vengevine. They have a Cruiser.
If they can land this Tombstalker, I think they can win the game. Missing land there is pretty big.
Yeah. Especially because Tombstalker does cost 2 black mana, which I do not currently have.
You just want to play spells. Like now, like you're put in the unenviable position of like considering whether you want to kill the elf or leave up the gate. I like the choice to just kill the elf here. They can reanimate this
Bolt
thing.
the bird. Or 25 years in counting.
Yeah, I mean it's just it's a tough spot because like more than likely, like I would expect Bailite to play a creature. They're actually just going to reanimate their Cambal here, which hindsight's 20/20. I mean, I guess if they had killed the elf, they'd just be playing a Vengevine out. Well, there's a land. That's good. I think I just leave up the bird here and try to block with the bird. Get this thing off the board. They're going to play out. They disagree. They're going to play out Muyan Ling. So if their OP just hits a land here, I don't know. I kind of like leaving the bird up, but I could be wrong there. Just try to snap off this Cambal in combat. My guess is blue-black tempo. My guess is they play a lot of spells. I don't know their deck list, but in general, you're going to play a lot of spells. This is an interesting turn. I kind of actually like playing out the Sylvan Library and then just like leaving up the Fatal Push to kill off the bird they make. Try to set up my later turn draws. It's going to be really good against blue-black going along.
That's fair.
Then again, just getting your land drops fine too. And there's a chance that Injunjoe doesn't make a bird here. I think that you generally would make a bird here.
My experience with Muyan Ling, if you have half a chance of making a bird, you're making a bird most of the time, but
yeah,
I do like birds.
Yeah, this Cambal is just gonna start beating up the life total here. I mean, you're gonna ponder here and try to find a land, I assume. All right, yep, they make a bird as expected. Looking for a land drop here would be my guess. Also gonna fill up their bin so they can get this demon down. The Muyan Ling is unfortunately gonna die here. In numerous ways. I mean, they can Fatal Push his bird. They can just Vengevine it.
Last time I got Muyan Ling played against me, I got to Archmage's Charm their bird at the end of turn and take it and use it to heal the Muyan Ling. That was pretty nice.
Yeah.
You had to take your bird.
Muyan Ling's like a weird card to me. Like I do think the card's good, but I think it gets played in more decks than it should. I think it's very specific to like wanting to be in like a tempo deck.
I've been
I don't like any
control. I've been liking Herring control actually.
I don't care for it there. I haven't cared for it, but
I just really like being able to play a 3-mana card that can both control the board and win me the game. That's kind of my reasoning there.
My experience hasn't been that she controls the board all that well. Like I haven't seen her control. For me, like I just feel like she just gets overwhelmed really fast.
She's not the best at it, but she does it well enough. And she's thinking even if she dies because creatures attack her, she's still probably gonna buy you like a turn or two because like.
Yeah, well, you look at this game
up,
state though, and like all she did is traded for one card. She traded for a fatal push is all she did here, and one attack step, which is a thing. I just don't know if it's good
definitely,
enough.
I don't think I want her.
And I'm not saying it shouldn't be in this deck. Like it's good in tempo decks. I think generally, I just don't think that to me it's like in control. Like I want something to do more than that for me. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that, like, I really like being able to have cards that are versatile, and she is versatile. She doesn't excel at either controlling the board or killing the opponent, but she's 3 mana for something that is capable of doing both.
Yep,
which is
I think she has. I think she
enjoy.
definitely has decks. I just don't think she goes in as many decks as people put her in. I think she's a good card, but I think she's very specific. Anyway, like in this game though, we have a Tombstalker down, which is blanking the board as it stands right now. I still think Bailite is in a very commanding position here, especially with a Sylvan Library and the ability to, frankly, just take 8 damage off of it. Like you could here, and you'd probably be okay. Maybe just 4. I think I would take 4 off it.
If those cards have an answer to Tombstalker in them, then yeah, you can absolutely take 8. Otherwise, I mean, the Tombstalker is a large fella, so he's going to...
but it's hard for them to attack. I mean, they can't really cast non-creature spells because you gain 2 life every time. You're building a very commanding board position. Here, the counterattack when they're on a lower life total is massive. Like they're going to gain a life off this course because they put a forest back on top, which makes good sense. There's a Temple Jardine. I wouldn't be shocked if we just see them play out the Reclaimer here and then on upkeep shuffle their deck to get that card off the top.
Yeah,
because they want to find non-lands at this point, I think.
Yeah, and they definitely have the mana to spare.
Yeah, I mean, the mana is not relevant. It's really just want to draw gas at this point and just cement the position in this game because their position is very good. Like right now, Tombstalker's a wall. It's a Plume Veil. It's a 2-mana 5/5 Plume Veil.
Are people still trying to play Elvish Reclaimer in Legacy? I know that people were trying to play that kind of like as additional copies of bad crop rotation, but I don't know if that's still a thing.
I don't know. I don't play Legacy, man. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a very slow card.
It is not fast.
Like, no, it's good in these like Abzan grindy decks though. Yeah, I like it in lands decks too, which is fine. It's just very slow. So we're going to gush here, probably looking for some removal, but this is like, again, like, you're going to go down to 8, your opponent's going up to 18. Like, it's very tough to race in this spot. That's a Remand, which Remand does not, counterspells kind of suck when you're behind on board.
Yep.
It's just,
that's why you don't, so we were speaking earlier about limited, right? Like, so
when you have a bunch of 2-1s on the board, like Remand sucks against a bunch of 2-1s on the board, right? It's again like it's just like the board playing to the board. In a format that's eternal.
Henry's expertise is the draw for.
But you don't cast that one. You're just gonna put the land. You're gonna put the land and the Henny's expertise on top. You're gonna play the land off the top. Then you're gonna cast Winding Way. Get rid of the Yeti's expertise that you don't want right now.
You don't want to kill it on board with it, but.
Yeah, I mean, you could even take 4 off this and keep the Temple Guard and then play this. No, I guess you don't want to play.
Zanti has mentioned that Elvish Reclaimer is in fact still played in Legacy. Depths plays it.
Yeah, I would say you probably play a Maverick if Maverick's a deck. Like,
I don't think Maverick plays it actually.
Nick Fit wouldn't play this because it's just going to play the what's the stupid card? Veteran Explorer. But
I mean, who knows what Nick Fit plays, right? Nick Fit's
whatever
weird.
wants. Well, no, where Nick Fit matters is like down at the 1-mana spot because like you have the card that is basically your engine, which is like Pernicious Deed and then Veteran Explorer just to generate card advantage and mana advantage.
You mean Cabal Therapy?
Sure, Cabal Therapy, Pernicious Deed. I mean, I don't know if they play Pernicious Deed anymore, but they
don't play Pernicious Deed.
Anymore?
Elves also play. You don't really Pernicious Deed in the deck very much anymore. The way that you set it up is that you play your main way of sacrificing your Elvish your Veteran Explorer is Cabal Therapy.
Yeah. Sure, like Veteran Explorer is you're off the game, by the way. You're back to the.
The way that the version of Nick Fit that I have seen that doesn't look that looks like the Spices is the one that plays both Arena Reactor and Academy Reactor, and you play Phyrexian. What is that? Phyrexian Tower is the land that you can use it because you can kind of use it to accelerate. into those. You can use it to sacrifice your Veteran Explorer, and you can use it to sacrifice to accelerate into your reactors, and also you can use it to sacrifice your reactors so that you can get like a UG.
No, I'm familiar. It's essentially just Sandy B play. What you're saying, like
yeah. But like,
Yeah,
my point was something along the lines of that it does everything that the deck wants, but also Nick Fit in general is kind of terrible.
it's very slow. It's very slow. All right. So, anyways, this game. There's no way Blue-Black Tempo is winning this one. Sorry to say. Not this game, but maybe this match. This game, I don't think there are good outs.
Yeah. I mean, the Tombstalker is kind of holding together these.
It's a 2-mana Plume Veil. It's a Plume Veil. What it is. It's essentially a Plume Veil.
It is, but like the moment that this Tombstalker leaves the board, this entire thing comes undone.
No. At this point, you just attack. If you attack with everything, they're dead.
Attacks.
Let me see. Are they actually dead?
No,
I think they are. Can they get rid of a land? If they play the fetch land out, I think they'd be dead.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, because the Elvish, I don't think it's vulnerable.
They can probably still sack the Nurturing Peat land to make this thing a 3/4 and F up their blocks. They're flipping this thing. I think you could just attack for lethal. Bailite really enjoys their value. He enjoys value a ton, and he will, play around.
To be fair, it's like, you are winning. Why don't you want to keep winning? Let the game keep going for a little bit more.
Well, I mean, like, you can probably make a pretty good assumption about what your opponent's up to, but if they like untap and like just cast a damnation, or something.
Yeah, no, I'm joking.
Yeah, I mean, like, you should win when you can win. In my opinion, but
I'm just saying, I understand his point of view.
Sure, yeah. Nope, and I can get it too. All right, reveal the top
the
card.
Lingering Souls on top of in Bailite's hand, which I'm assuming will get cast for its full potential here.
Yeah. Basically, the game's over. I think if I was on the blue-black player side, I concede. Go to game 2. Tempo is really a deck that, like, you have tools to deal with the board, but you want your tools that deal with the board to be like proactive in nature, such that you already have a threat down and you're maintaining board control and board advantage, even sometimes at the cost of card advantage.
Yeah, I mean, the deck is designed to get ahead and stay ahead, right? It's not designed
It's
to
protect the queen,
protect the
queen strategy. Protect the queen strategy. And if you get behind like this, you're going to get ground out, right? You're just going to get ground the hell out.
It's not, the deck is just not designed to hedge back once it's fall behind. It's not the strategy.
Nope. It's just not how it works. Yep, not how it works at all. All right, so the Tombstalker eats something. They're down to 1. Cannot cast a spell. Yeah,
and they decided to pack it in.
Yeah, I'll probably see their draw step. See if there's a damnation that they didn't put in their deck.
No, they did see the way to see their draw step, I think, and then we're like, okay, we're done here.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind. I'm watching them play out their Dark Confidant right now, and then conceding.
We have a pretty solid hand for both players. Bailite has a Elvish Mystic start, which is always a good way to start. They can go Llanowar Waste into Elvish Mystic and then have access to 3 mana on turn.
I'm honestly shocked that Bailite doesn't play more Mana Dorks. I know why they don't, because they have more sweeper effects in their deck. But I've recently been playing like more like pod decks and building on pod decks. Like the Mana Dorks are so like Mana Dorks in density are so great, like just so good.
Do you agree? Do you agree with the take here?
I'm a little bit behind. I'm not going to see what their thought sees right now. I assume they thought sees the
they thought
plow?
Sees a zombie. No, they thought sees a zombie.
Which one? There are 2 zombies in their hand. So I'm a little behind.
Oh, Murderous Rider is a zombie? The Tidal Scholar.
Yeah, Murderous Rider is a zombie and is in Zombie Tribal. The card's great.
That card is so good.
Scholar.
I mean, you do it because you want to protect your hand. I think.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah. No. I like it because you play out your thing at flash speed. You're playing to draw to a counter spell. Like you're probably going to let them have this Elvish Mystic, and then play out your Very Vandal, and then on the next turn, like hope to either draw a draw spell or a counter spell to counter this Murderous Rider. I don't know. all the cards kind of did the same goddamn thing, right? Like you have a card that basically kills a card by putting it underneath it, a card that literally kills cards by casting it, and then another card that kills cards by casting it. But I don't mind having this Fairy Vandal get eaten by a Murderous Rider to resolve a Muyan Ling.
Yeah, I mean, though this Kambal is going to eventually be problematic, right?
Yeah.
I guess the push can handle it.
Yeah, the push can handle Kambal. Fairy Vandal's a weird card, right? Like I don't think it goes in every tempo deck.
Agreed.
But because you need to be drawing a lot of cards to make it worth it. And some of the tempo decks, like the more than two, tempo decks that are more than 2 colors, I tend to find you have less card draw because you have better removal options. So you'll play better board impacting cards that can go to face, like bolts and whatnot. And the card kind of loses some value. But in like these 2-color decks, the Fairy Vandal is quite good. I've been very impressed with the card. Unfortunately, like Bailite's entire hand trades very well with Injunjoe's hand.
Efficiently too, right? You see, like they have a 1-mana removal spell, they have a 2-mana removal spell.
Yeah, I mean, like
they have
the
2
3
ways
mana,
of answering this.
Well, they have a 3 mana. They have the Assassin's Trophy now, but the Murderous Rider is a mana parity answer for Muyan.
No, I understand my point, Matt. Yeah. But it's a card advantage way. That's the difference.
Sure. Yeah. It is. It is. All right, so they're going to leave up their spells. Oh, that's a Wasteland. So you could actually take them off the ability to cast the Murderous Rider.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
But they opt not to have Muyan Ling in it. Ooh, hi there, Liliana.
Yeah.
Bailite decides to give exactly 0 respect to anything resembling a counterspell in Injunjoe's hide, and he's right to do so because it turns out Injunjoe doesn't have it.
He knows too, because like his opponent played down a threat that his opponent knew was going to die, as opposed to countering the threat that Bailite figured would probably have to be killed because it basically won game 1. It was a very important part of winning game 1. So I think it's 100% right to jam it here, and plus it's not going to get better with time.
Oh, no, for sure. I agree with you that you.
But I think you can also make a very safe assumption they just don't have it unless they drew it in the last draw step,
and gets the Cabal back,
or they kept a 4-lander, right? But they probably didn't keep a 4-lander on a blue-black. You probably keep like a 2 to 3-lander on blue-black. Is typical range. This is going to get back Camball, which is a backbreaker for blue-black.
Misdirection is the draw.
Misdirection. It's not a actually. If you had a blue
it
it's
can eventually.
It's good. No, it's good.
If you resolve the Muyan Ling, you can kind of force them
You can misdirect the Murderous Rider to the Liliana or the Assassin's Trophy. Yeah,
you cannot misdirect the Assassin's Trophy actually because it's only permanents you don't control.
Fair enough.
So
you can you can misdirect it to your
land, but
to your own land, yeah, and you can mana fix yourself or whatever.
Yeah, but you cannot just get the blowout. You can only you only.
Yeah, you don't need to blow Liliana up too. But Liliana, like, she's very good, but like she's probably, if she gets another creature, she's gonna win the game. If she doesn't get another creature, she's not gonna probably single-handedly win the game. Here you made it down to 0.
It cannot get Murderous Rider from the graveyard because Murderous Rider puts itself back in the deck when it dies. So
Murderous Rider's I mean, you gotta jam it, but now you don't jam it here. You're just taking the beats. Oof. And I guess you got to do what you got to do.
I do disagree with their choice of Murderous Rider. Like, come on.
Why? What's wrong with Murderous Rider?
Use the fancy one with the Shohei's frame. Come on.
Well, I mean, these cards aren't free, man. It's not that expensive at Moto, but
I don't think it's significantly different in price.
No, it's not a huge difference. It's not a huge difference in price. I own the fancy schmancy version, but like the fancy schmancy like Brazen Borrower, which is a pretty card, and which I got, like, is not a reasonably priced card either.
No, I want I actually in paper I have fancy schmancy version for all of them except for Brazen Borrower too. I have I actually have a regular foil Brazen Borrower, which I don't
Yeah.
probably shouldn't, but I got it at the GP with like prize tickets or whatever.
To clarify for the viewers, this game's over. Unfortunately, this didn't turn out to being a great one. Injunjoe kind of flooded a bit here, and then game one kind of had the wrong parts in the beginning, and then drew the parts that they would have loved to have in the beginning, the counter spells, after the board had developed. And that's how these games can go. Sometimes it's just dead, very, very dead.
Bailite, yeah, Injunjoe just packs it in.
Now, if it was like, if they were on, I thought they were high tide. I was like, that's gonna be sick if they're on high tide because I think it'd be an interesting game. But it's just tough. It's tough. Didn't line up well.
Who do you want to go watch? While we wait?
I'll just choose someone, man. I'll watch any games. I enjoy them all.
All right, let's put Necropotence and Neisan on.
Sure. That's Time Vault versus. I heard Necropotence. Who else?
Neisan is the other one.
Neisan's on the rock. Then Time Vault should generally steamroll the rock. If Neisan's on this,
like that would be a thing, but
oh yeah, the rock. Unless they have like their Abrupt Care Assassin's Trophy, very tough. Necropotence is on probably not on Time Vault though, unless they're playing like a Bant version of Time Vault, which is viable.
I mean you can Wargate your Time Vault in play, right? That's pretty spicy.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's a five mana to find a Time Vault. I guess you play Tezzeret to do it, but Tezzeret also combos with it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's 5 mana to put your Time Vault directly.
What is this?
In play,
what is that card? Chronomatic Escape. I don't even know what that does. I do not know that card. Do you?
I've never even heard that card before. What?
It's a suspend card. I don't know what it does though.
Yeah, I mean it has Chrono in the name, so I assume it would be some sort of suspend card. But okay, you know what? Let's let me fix. I'm gonna put it on the screen in a second. Let me fix. Now I'm also curious, so I might just ask them to share their hands with me in a second to see if we have figured out exactly what's going on.
All right, so we're on the old 3 turn. Actually, this is a 2 turn clock, right? 'Cause this is 9 + 9 + 2 off Liliana after it upticks to make 2/2. So that's the old 2 turn clock. And the question is, do you have like an instant speed wrath effect, like a Settle the Wreckage? No. Oh, they have Constant Mist. They're a Time Walks deck. They're
playing Curb.
Seasons Past. Seasons Past. Yeah, they're a Bant Curb deck. What they are. I don't know. I still don't know what that suspend card is. But they're playing Curb, yeah. Playing Constant Miss. That's what they're on.
Okay, I'm gonna.
So if you're a viewer and you're familiar with me when we say Curb, the Curb deck, Curb is a habitually blue-green deck, but you can splash other colors in it, which it looks like they're splashing white. That essentially looks to ramp and then cast Time Walks forever, essentially. One of the common cards you'll see in it is Seasons Past, which allows you to get back Mystical Tutor, a version of Time Walk, and then a bunch of other cards, one of each converted mana cost. The way Seasons Past works is it then puts itself back on the bottom of your library, and because you got Mystical Tutor and a Time Walk, you can cast Mystical Tutor to put Seasons Past back on top of your deck, cast a Time Walk to redraw Seasons Past, and then just do it all over again and take infinite turns.
You know, I now understand why Nehopotence's first game took so long.
Oh, it's a fog. This is a fog. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
it's a fog of some sort. Yeah,
and
it's a fog that comes back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so they have cards like Clean Mist in their deck, which Clean Mist is just a buyback card, a buyback fog that costs 1 green, and like green and 1, and you can sacrifice a land to put it back in your hand. Because they're ramping they have a bunch of ramp cards. Like they need a lot of mana, but they can also just like at this point in the game sacrifice lands just buy turns to draw into what's relevant. Which at this point, if they draw like a bunch of Time Walks, and or Seasons Past, they could just possibly win. I do believe there is a Time Walk specifically in their graveyard right now. Like I saw the top of it in there below the Rampant Growth. There is a Right Flourishing, which is another classic kind of turbo fog deck. I guess the best way to describe Curb Your Enthusiasm is it's turbo fog, but it uses Time Walks instead of fogs.
Yeah, I mean it uses both, right? Kind of.
Yeah, mostly Time Walks, but I mean you can use fogs too. Like this looks like it's more of a fog heavy verse. Oh, that's the Bazooka Bog. I think there's some relevant stuff in their graveyard. Can you pop their graveyard up real quick?
Yes.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Nico's graveyard.
They're exiled zone now. Yeah. What's their exiled zone now? Because it just got exiled.
Yeah.
my Bajuka Bog. If Time Walk's in there, that could be problematic, but I mean, they're going to have big Time Walks, so they just need to get more mana to do it.
I found the perfect name for this deck.
What's that? Yeah, Time Walk's gone. Evacuation? Yeah, hell yeah. Explosive Veggies? So this is this is actually more of a what is it? Curb O Fog.
We got it.
Nice. All right, so into the north, getting cast on the opposing side.
No. Stop it.
Are they still on game 1? This is certainly possible.
I'm asked. You know, actually, let me just join their call really quickly and ask them. Sure. I'll be right back.
They could
This is the first time in this tournament I've gotten a Howling Mine effect.
Hey,
that actually draws me.
Excuse me. Are you still in game 1?
No,
we're in game 2.
This is game 2.
Okay. Would you mind setting up hand cams real quickly?
Sure.
Okay,
I can't do that because my internet is kind of shaky and I don't think it could handle.
Okay, I'll send the call to Neisan then, and we'll do without your hand.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Nope.
But they are going to have bigger Time Walks. They can just continue to loop. But right now they can just kind of afford to pass the turn. Basically cast any ram spells they have and then just pass the turn and try to draw into the spells they need. Because their opponent's primary game plan of trying to kill them with damage is just going to not do all that much right now because of the fog effect that they have. We do know that Necro likely has all spells in hand because they only played 1 land and they could have played 2 lands with Rites of Flourishing. So their hand's probably decent. The one downside of playing a card like Rites of Flourishing, though, is that like Neisan is getting to draw 2 cards a turn as well. Rites of Flourishing is a it's a bilateral effect. It affects all players. So yeah.
All right. Neko doesn't have a good. Doesn't have the internet connection is problematic, so they're not going to give us hand. But Neisan will, so we'll do that.
Sure. I mean, at this point, Ness needs to draw like hand attack. He needs to draw hand attack to kill that Clean Mist. The Clean Mist needs to die. If Clean Mist doesn't die, like I see that like Neko's going to draw this game out and probably eventually get there. Like, they're probably eventually going to get there because it's really hard to beat Clean Mist without discard or counter spells. Which on green black, you're probably not playing counter spells unless you have like Life Force in your deck. I'm sorry, Death Grip. You death grip your Clean Mist.
You monetized it. It's fine.
Well, they're not playing white either, but Death Grip.
By clinging miss, so you mean constant miss? Or do you mean actual?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Constant miss. I'm going to mix the names up. So this is a weird deck, guys. I don't. I'm going to mix card names up because the amount of times that I've seen Chronomantic escape in my life is exactly right now. Now, Constant Miss is a card I should know because I've seen it. He's played in this format. A decent, in niche archetypes.
Neisan, can you actually share your screen in the Hangouts call? So otherwise, I can't display your hand. Thanks.
So that's a pile of cards with a Time Walk in it and a bunch of lands and ramp. I assume the Time Walk was taken.
Time Walk sounds like a good take.
Well, it was Echo the Aeons or whatever. Walk the Aeons, I'm sorry. A 6-mana Time Walk. There's Rites of Flourishing. Like, I was talking about this card. This card is honestly probably it's really good in this style of deck.
Oh, yeah.
It is bilateral, so both players get to basically use the benefits of it. But obviously, when you're playing a Curb O Fog deck or a Curb Your Enthusiasm Fog deck, the benefits
I'm very proud of the name.
The problem with like these style of decks is they're great in like these fair matchups, but my goodness, like when you play against a blue deck or a combo deck, you just get roto-rootered. You just get ranched.
It is no bueno.
So hard. You're just like counterspell. Oh, I can't beat you.
No.
Tendril Spaghetti. Oh, I'm dead. All right, they're really cool decks though. Like that's why like you'll see most of the Curb Your Enthusiasm decks not play the fogs, but like play just Time Walks and play counterspells over the fogs. So they have some protection, have some ability to play against things that don't really give a crap about playing creatures out that attack. Not that this is a bad way to play the deck. Like constant miss is just like
Oh yeah,
wrecking house.
against some decks, constant miss is just lights out. Right? Like some decks
Well,
just
no,
can't.
it's like and they're kind of almost like Neston's deck is the rock, right? And it's going to need a tan attack. Like if he in the next couple of turns, if they do not draw like a Mind Twist or a Duress, Thoughtseize, the game's probably going to be over. Because like Pernicious Deed, like honestly, Pernicious Deed just to blow up that stupid rights is actually probably really good here.
Yeah,
I think
Neisan has also, like, I mean, this game clearly has been going on for a while, but Neisan definitely has drawn 70,000 lands, which hasn't helped. I wouldn't hate deeding.
Well, but it's the rock, so it plays 70,000 lands, right? Like both these decks are very landed decks, but this Pernicious Deed could blow up the Rites of Flourishing, which frankly, like your creatures are not relevant right now. Constant Miss makes all of your creatures say nothing. I mean, it makes them say Stone Rain once a turn is what they all say. Which
not even Stone Rain. It's like they have to sacrifice a land, right? It's like
you get to choose when you blow up, but when you're drawing 2 a turn and can play 2 lands a turn off of Rites of Flourishing, like that's bad, right? Like that means you're only losing 1 land a turn, but you're still gaining one if you're drawing lands. And if you're not drawing lands, you're drawing spells, which means you're probably winning. Because like you got a Pernicious Deed here, I think. You just got to blow up that stupid rights and make them actually start losing resources from casting Constant Miss. My opinion. We're gonna see him slam a deed. Nope, they're gonna animate dead something. Is there like a Oh, there's that card. That card's really good. They played their land first, though. Wonder why they did that.
What did they animate?
Animate the Tireless Tracker, which is a good one to reanimate.
Oh, yeah.
You can get cards off of it. You can find answers for this problem.
Yeah, and you can find your... it's even better with the Rites of Flourishing, right? It lets you play more lands that let
draw
you...
Draw 3 a turn, basically, yeah. Like, you have plenty of mana to spend on it, so...
Like, cards aren't Neisan problems. The problem is that it's very possible that there is just no cards in the deck that answers what Necro is doing.
There's one that also answers the Rites of Flourishing, which, again, like, kill this Rites of Flourishing. It's not good for you. I promise you it's not good for you.
I can guarantee you that Rites of Flourishing is
it's like Howling Mind. Like, the first time people play, like, not everyone, but like, the first time a lot of people play against Howling Mind decks in older formats, like they don't blow the Howling Mind up. So they're like, oh, I get to draw first, and I draw 2 turn, and you draw 2 turns. It's better for me because I draw first. Take your free card off of Howling Mind, and then blow the fucking Howling Mind up. Like it is gonna kill you in the deck it's in. Like it's in that deck for a reason. It's like it plays perfectly in that deck. It plays better in that deck than if you're running Howling Mind in your deck, maybe you leave it alive. If you're not running Howling Mind in your deck and you can't kill the Howling Mind, kill the Howling Mind. It's just gonna get you.
Let me see if anybody. So TasteTheBeams lost 1-2 against RarerMonsters, so we have that result.
I'm gonna go on a quick break, but I should use the restroom real fast.
Back. Take your time. I'm going to probably not do much commentary about this game while we wait for it to finish. It's actually like the question here about this game is there anything in Neisan's deck that counters whatever Necro's doing? Because if Necropotence manages to manage like if there is something that they're gonna throw it eventually. The problem is I don't know if there is.
Well, Neisan's just drawn Collective Brutality, which is a pretty good way of getting rid of constant mists.
Oh yeah, Collective Brutality does do it. I mean, you have Veil of Summer. Never mind. I mean, you can cast Constant Mist in response, right? You can respond to Collective Brutality by casting Constant Mist, so it's in the graveyard, not in the hand. When it
you get one more turn, or in this case, you just ignore it and laugh.
Yeah, and draw a card.
And all your stuff is hexproof. You can't even Abrupt Decay the Rites of Flourishing.
Well, isn't Rites of Flourishing for mana anyway? No, it's 3. Okay, never mind. I don't know magic cards. We have Einstein won 2-0 versus Loring and mixed finals. We have and then we had Bailite 2-0 on Injunjoe. That was the match. And so I believe that Hendral versus... So Blahguy and Luhar are still going, Hendral and the Small Potato are still going, and we're watching Neisan and Necropotence right now.
Quite a few matches still going then.
Yeah. I mean, Necropotence is not playing a deck that's going to finish the game in any timely manner.
No. Although hopefully this dig through time speeds it up a bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
The thing that... So I'm back, so just jumping about
Hi,
the thing
Loman.
that, hello. I'm gonna go back to it, but just kill this Rites of Flourishing, man. Just kill it, please. Just kill it. It's not good.
They draw a collective brutality that would have finally been an answer to the constant beasts, but
yeah, there's probably a lot of things.
There was a Veil of Summer that got cast in response. So instead,
There was a what?
there was a Veil of Summer that got cast in response. So
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like they've been drawing 2 turn for a bazillion turns, and they're playing
yeah.
blue. So
you,
it's like,
you assume their hand is stacked.
yeah,
Oh,
they're
Wilderness
hands-
Reclamation, nice. I just
Like
liked it.
honestly, I think Pernicious Deeding here. I guess now like you have this Tireless Tracker in play, which you kind of want to keep around. But
Liliana can get that back.
It's fine.
that's true. Yeah, I think you just need to like get rid of this bullshit that's on the board. Just kill it.
Yeah, especially now there's also a Temple Bell. Just
Just kill all this crap. Like it's just not good for you. It's not gonna help you out.
And you even get
It's
to,
like a-
you even still have your worm coil if you do. Just
Do
deed
either of you
everything,
guys-
please.
You both watch Wheeler streams every once in a while, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so you've seen the Owling Mine deck? Have you seen that deck play?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's not good for you to draw those cards, right? Like those cards are in that deck for a very specific reason, and it's not good for you. Like, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Necropotence is playing like a Stasis in that deck, or like just a random Black Vise, just get people.
Stasis and Wilderness Reclamation. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, or like Big Teferi, 5-mana Teferi with Stasis, or Back to Basics, untap your lands.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, Stasis, Wilderness Wreck, Kismet, the Log, or what's it, the Orb. There's an Orb that does the same thing Kismet does, but it's better. I can never remember the name of it, though.
Static Orb?
No, Static Orb's untapped, too. There's one that makes everything come into play tapped. Kismet makes everything come into play tapped.
Oh, that one. Right, yeah.
Yeah, I forget the name of it. I know the art, but it's a 3-mana Orb.
Oh,
something.
Orb of Dreams or something?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Orb of Dream Orb, something like that. It's not a card that sees a lot of play.
Wait, are you talking about the one where you discard a head instead of paying the cost?
It's Kismet. No, it doesn't have an alternate cost. It's Kismet. Red Mage is what it is.
Oh,
It's a bilateral Kismet. It's 1 mana less, but colorless, and it does it to everyone. So your lands come into play tapped to your creatures, all that.
okay. No, sorry. I thought you were talking about. I got distracted and thought that you were talking about Dream Holes.
No, that's a very different card.
Yeah, I know.
Very, very different card. Not talking about.
How did we get to talking about Dream Holes?
Although you mention it, like I kind of now want to build a Dream Halls Conflux deck.
Dream Holes is kind of nuts.
So you cast Dream Halls, and then you cast Conflux off Mystical Tutor or whatever teachings for Mystical Tutor. Put Conflux in your hand, cast Conflux, and then find all of the ultimatums. Just cast all the ultimatums on someone. just blow everything up.
That's pretty
Draw
funny.
all the cards. It'd be great. That was actually a deck. It was actually that was a deck in what format was it? Dream Halls was totally a deck. I'm trying. It's killing me. I can't remember the format it was in.
It was probably Legacy.
It wasn't
Or
extended or
Type
something,
2,
was it?
Type 1 at the time, I guess.
Yeah. It's probably before Legacy. I played Magic for a long time, and it kind
It
of
might have been
starts to blur
extended.
together.
It sounds like that the
Yeah.
thing could be extended.
But I know there have been decks that run Dream Halls and Conflux in them in competitive Magic. Now, if ever one events, no.
Oh yeah,
God,
that
no.
is definitely extended. That sounds like it's something you would do in extended.
Yeah, but it won games.
Was Extended still around when Conflux was released?
Yes.
I don't. Yeah, I probably
No,
do. Like
I'm
I'm
give
telling
you
you,
the answer.
yeah, I trust you. Like I just my memory. Like I remember like what all of the I remember almost what all the cards do. Their names will generally evade me, and like when they were printed or like
so-
what like what time frame they're printed. Like they're just I don't know. Like I just
Extended
doesn't stick
was
to me.
retired when Modern was introduced, and Modern was introduced around the time of Innistrad/M13. So
Yeah.
Conflux still predates Modern by like 3 or 4 years, and which means Extended.
Yeah, because I was like talking to like Robin Sorensen the other day about like some old ass decks, and like it took me a while to like calibrate my mind to like time frame and what was available then, and like I just it's weird, right? Like it's hard for me to like. I can remember how a Pedbun Oath deck works, for instance. Like it's a Silver Bullet Oath deck that like ran in Lightning Tutor to like find like Ivory Masks and shit. But like I couldn't tell you the exact cards that were in it, like the exact hate cards. Like it like had Null Rods and like Sacred Ground was a card you played in the deck. Abundance plus a Sylvan Library, but like I couldn't tell you when that deck was played. It like could have been 90, 93 for all I know. It certainly wasn't. But
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of all the historical side of things.
yeah, well, in a past life, I was also in the U.S. Army. I've been blown up a bunch, man. So like my memory is like weird, right? I remember
I
certain
can
things
imagine
very well.
blowing up being not great for your head.
No, being blown up's not generally great for your head, But I remember certain things very well. But when it comes to like when things happen in time space, I'm dog shit at that. I just remember things exist. I'm like, oh, this is
a Gurk in the 6 mana.
What's that now?
There's a 6 mana Gurk in Neisan's hand. That's an interesting card.
There's just a bunch of stuff in their hand. Like I'm gonna go back to it. And I know I sound like a broken record. Blow up these goddamn howling mines. Blow up these goddamn howling mines.
You have 2
They're
ways
just
of
gonna
doing
kill
it.
you.
You also have a case
They're
of granite.
gonna kill you. They're gonna kill you. All your like. Maybe they're trying to time them out, but like, please don't time them out.
That's not. Yeah, that is not.
That's not something I think we should see.
There is also
honestly, if it goes to time, I would tell them to just start. I would tell them to just start another game because this is going to go to time. I doubt they're on match 3 or game 3.
I mean, I think that
for timing,
the way it's going to work out is that I don't know how to hit this. Let me. Like I agree. I agree that if they're gonna start a new game, if there is gonna be a game 3, they should probably start a new match.
Yeah, I mean it's just.
But I think that if they went so slow that they are incapable of finishing 2 games within the timer that was given, I think that whoever timed out should actually lose the game that they're in.
Dude, look, you're the tournament organizer. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just saying I would like to see the game come to a conclusion. I wouldn't want to.
I agree with you there. It's just that, like
I've probably only won like 2 games of Canlander based on time. And I've never felt good about it. Like it's just like all right, well,
let me just write to the players and see exactly what's going on.
Especially because we're on 25-minute clocks here as opposed to like 40-minute clocks and all that. But if they're, I would wait to write to them though. I would let them finish this game because they're going to be like heavily watching their clocks and trying to like fastidiously like click the buttons as fast as they can. But yeah, this one is probably effectively over. Casting something else massive here. On the end step, this is going to be a time walk. What is it? Nexus of Fate?
Yeah. It was
just blue Sun Zenith.
Oh,
A bazillion. Okay. And
So
they're
they
discard.
it twice. I
guess they redrew it. How did they redraw it? It wasn't already back in deck. It's not resolved yet. They drew it. They drew it off Temple Bell. That's how they got it. I can never milk Kaiba. I have the blue Sun Zenith.
And possibly also Nexus of Fate.
I'm sure
we saw a 4th color randomly show up in Necopotence's deck. It's like, hey, I also have a Sunken Hollow. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, here, like, I'm not like Ness should concede this game. Like, it's over. Like, it's probably, I hate to say someone should concede a game, but like, I would concede here. Like you lost. Like they're on a bazillion time walk turns and all that. It's like, I mean, maybe that's not fair. I don't know. Like that was a time walk turn, and they saw 16 extra cards. I don't. I assume if their deck is capable of winning, like it's gonna win off of that many cards, right? I mean, I'd ask them, be like, "Hey, did you win the game?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, I did." I'm like, okay, cool. I'll concede.
Okay, it's more of a consideration for paper, but the control-y, or in this case, more prison-y kind of decks do have to think about their win conditions, because if they lose game 1, they've got to win 2 games.
Yeah. I mean,
get it done.
Yeah, and if you're playing like Comparel rules, like and you're gonna get timed, like you don't want to have a bunch of unintentional draws in games. But there's a lot of this stuff that we see in this game, like a lot of these game actions that like are a lot quicker when you're playing in paper, right? And this is a point in the game at which, like, if I don't know why the turn got passed. Obviously, the turn did get passed. But this is a point in the game at which, like, there's Thoughtseize, so they can like get one of the cards. If it's not a counter, probably just get countered at this point. Maybe not. So maybe they didn't just win off of drawing like 32 cards or whatever the hell it was off multiple blue Sunseas. I would have assumed you would generally win when you're down to 36 in deck and you've seen everything. But I guess
it's
not.
One of those ones where it's possible, but it's not likely.
Yeah,
I'll let Neisan know that
do we know which is this game 2 or is this which
game 2? Neisan won game 1.
Okay.
So I let them know that since Neko's presumably gonna be this one, so they should probably.
Well, like they drew 32 and did nothing.
I think
the turn to get past.
Neisan might actually have it here.
Necro may actually have it, or Neisan may have it.
Neisan.
Yeah, that would be, yeah. I mean, they can like Thoughtseize twice and get all of the fogs out of their hand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
I mean, they could just cast the fog in response to the Thoughtseize, though, right? And just be like, you can not take this. All right, there's a Nexus of Fate. So they have an extra turn after this one. Why they didn't cast it on their last end step, I don't know. They just cast a fog here. Yeah, there's a fog of some variety.
Fog that gains a 9.
Yeah, I mean, now they're going to hand attack them, but like they're drawing 4.
Neisan
5 a turn.
Neisan decided to pack it in.
That's cool. That's very cool of them to do. It's just like, you're dead. Like, just it's not going to go to clock. Like, they probably should like both just end this game, join a new one, concede, and then like go to game 3. And
I'll let them know to make a new match.
Yeah, I mean, because and some folks like who play more competitive Magic may like think that's kind of dumb, but like, you play Canadian Highlander to play cool stuff, right? I mean, like if you want to just win, play Legacy, play Vintage, there are formats that like you can do that in, and it's fine. This is a brewing format. Like if someone has the bravery to bring Turbo Fog to the format, I would really hate to see them like kind of just get relegated due to the fact the deck's a lot more difficult to play due to the mechanical failings of MTGO, right? That's just my opinion on it, and I'm glad to see they brought it because that's a cool deck. You don't see it very often. You see Curb, but Curb is a counterspell Time Walk deck. It's not really a Turbo Fog deck. And I think it's pretty sweet they brought it. So.
Yeah. All right. We have.
I see Bailite checked out Orb of Dreams. I think right there's a banger, is it not? Not Bailite. Ye old Orb of Dreams. Real card. All right, cool. So Aggro should not have had the play. We should tell them Neisan gave them the play. Yeah, but I guess if they're fine with it, they're fine with it. But I mean, honestly, it may be a disadvantage to be on the play if you're Necropotence. I don't know. I haven't played Turbo Fog enough recently. It's like a modern dredge where like you always take the draw, so you can discard the first turn.
Yeah. I'm gonna let the players figure it out. It's
yeah, just let them play. Let them play.
I'm not gonna bug them.
But yeah, if we want to be like fastidious, be like, hey guys, listen, you gotta concede your first one. Hey folks, you gotta concede your first one. You gotta concede your second one. Go to game 3. Whoever should have the draw or play the play. But yeah,
it's fine.
It's a hymn. It feels like a hymnal to me, for whatever reason. No, it's Silver Library. That's a good one. That's a good one in a matchup like this. But like, honestly, in this matchup, like, I just want to murder them. I want to like put down. I mean, I don't think Neisan's deck's really a deck that's set up to like just murder people like real fast. Just like, you know, turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 creatures. But it is a card that like at least can grind.
It's a tricky one for Neisan because they've got a lot of creature removal that's either dead or practically dead.
Yeah,
and
just dead.
Necro's equivalent of removal is fogs, and as we saw, they're all very much live.
Yeah, fogs. I love it. I think this is really cool. I kind of want to build a turbo fog deck now. I just think it's a funny way to play the game. I mean, it's so bad against so many decks, but it's so great.
It's one more for the database then.
Yeah, I'll probably build it at some point. Probably do it.
Okay, this is the last outstanding match at this point. We don't have.
Oh, that's a real shocker. Tell you what, I'm really shocked there wasn't a slower match than Turbo Fog.
Look, man.
I'm sorry about being a smart ass, but it's funny. Like, this is our last match. Oh shit! It's like a Turbo Fog. I love you, Remy. I'm sorry. I had to say.
Well,
it.
I mean, the good news is that this is the lower bracket, so we're not gonna have to watch it for the final. I mean, let Neko, you know, and their opponent just do whatever they want at the end. We don't need to wait for them to finish.
I just want to see Turbo Fog take a match, just for the hell of it. Cause it's like, you just don't, like, this is legit Turbo Fog. It's not Curb.
No, yeah, this is just Turbo Fog. I'm gonna fix it.
I didn't see. I saw only a couple time walks. Like, they didn't have a ton of time walks.
Well, we saw Time Walk, we saw Walk the Aeons, we saw Nexus of Fate.
Yeah. They have some. They do some. I don't think they have quite
Nexus
the density.
Oh my god. Is Neko's win on Nexus of Fate?
I mean, here's the thing I would say, dude. Like, they drew 32 fucking cards in one turn and didn't do anything and passed the turn back. So it very well could be. There's a very good shot that it probably is. Which is fine. Not. Well, it's fine. You just tell them, like, hey, bud, like, I got this and this. Can you beat it? Like, that's game, I like blowing this up. I think, like, these sort of engine cards, like, if you're playing Wilderness Wreck in your deck, Wilderness Wreck is good in your deck if you're playing it in your deck. Like, if someone has chosen to play that card, he probably should kill it or counter it or whatever. It's probably really bad for you.
I mean, I've seen it playing, like, decks that are a little bit more fair oriented, I guess, than this one. Like I said, it's playing like bug control and being excellent.
This is a fair deck. Turbo Fog's a fair deck, but like, it's not that unfair.
Oh yeah, no, like, it's not.
Like, if you think Turbo Fog's unfair, like, it's fair.
No, Turbo Fog isn't unfair.
I think it's honestly played fair decks.
It's control. If that
it's played. No, I play it in bug control. Like, I think it's fine in builds of bug control that are designed to exploit it, and that's a very fair deck. But what's unfair is being able to have a doubling cube, when like 85% of your cards are instant speed or do things at instant speed, a la Tastiger or a Scarab God, whatever, So, Snapcasters, whatnot. But, yeah. I think it's a fine card for some builds of bug control.
I guess, has anybody tried to make Fire of Inventions work?
No, I haven't yet. I think that card is just so bad. But in this format,
really good in Standard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many 2-mana counter spells and 2-mana interaction spells that trade up versus threats and are good on mana actually exist in Standard, right?
Wow.
Like Standard's really more about just some battle cruiser magic, which is fine. That's a fine way to play the game, But it's like you're. It's more proactive.
For sure.
It has less reactive tools. It's more about cementing advantage.
Like the fires draws in the fires deck instead that kind of sometimes play like combo draws where you're like, oh, Fires of Invention and then on top Cavalier of Flames, Cavalier of Gales, take 13.
I tend to look at Fires of Invention as being an Aether Vial that's automatically put on 5.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I look at the card. That's kind of what it is.
Kind of what it is, and you get to activate it twice.
Well, and it works for Planeswalkers, other bullshit, right? And you can't play Counter Rebels with it like you can with Aether Vial. That's a deck you should build. Counter Rebels. Counter Rebels is a real deck, man. Counter Slivers, Counter Rebels.
I know it has been a real deck at some point.
Yeah. Counter Slivers is really good. Counter Slivers I've seen take 5-0 in Legacy League still. I bet you could.
Asmallpotato, thanks for the Twitch follow.
Oh, sweet.
I don't know why it didn't pop out in the. My mini feed in Twitch is broken, but I got a notification anyway, so thanks. Either way.
Yeah. So what do we think of this game state right now? I think I like to think that when one player has about 10 lands in play, I just looked at how many lands they have in play versus their opponent on 4 lands.
Yeah, it's definitely some stuff happened.
Now the problem is they have 0 cards, and they just have like a billion lands. They're like, well, if I play all the ramp, I'll never draw a land again. Do they have a card to cast? This is one of the problems with Turbo Fog. You can eventually run out of gas.
Yeah, that's why you need all the stupid Howling Mines, right?
Yeah, that's the Howling Mines make this deck work. Those are the cards that are the most important to the strategy. Are like the draw cards. Okay, your season's passed. I'm assuming that's probably not good for their opponent because it's probably going to get them 4 or 5 cards back. Oh, only 2? Okay, well, is one of them a Time Walk?
Yes. Shuffles itself in,
yes.
I believe.
That was a Time Walk, and they got another card off of it. I don't know what it was. Probably a ramp spell. Yeah, you're not wrong. Beacon does shuffle back in. So that one is not in the bin, but there was a Time Walk in the bin.
I was trying to make it so that to erase the E in Beacon of Tomorrow. So that it would spell Beacon of Tomorrows, but that's just too much work, man.
Okay, so something is being cast EOT here. It's obviously a very expensive something. I bet you this is a Blue Sun Zenith because they probably need a double or triple blue for it.
Oh yeah, they didn't realize that they wouldn't cast it.
Yeah, you can't cast triple blue card with the mana base they have right now. You know, they have like 20 lands.
Maybe they... okay.
I think they're just going to draw half their deck. I think that's what this is a Blue Suns. I could be wrong. Could be something else.
Blue Suns is uncastable, though.
Blue Suns is not uncastable because you can use the Wilderness Reclamation to fix your mana.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they would have had to wait until then because they can tap it, then untap it. Yeah, it is Blue Suns.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense for them to have waited to cast it there. They have their 3 mana open. Their OP's going to find a land. Be like, I got ramp too, bud. I got some ramp. They also, of note, get to shuffle their deck, which they're on a Sylvan Library. They knew their top 2. They probably weren't great. Actually, maybe they were because they took a lot of damage off of it. But yeah, it helps shuffle those cards up. They probably took damage off it and they fetched twice, yeah. Because they're at 10, and I will almost guarantee you the Turbo Fog deck has not put them to 10. They probably put themselves to 10.
Yeah, no, I think that the Sylvan Library had something to do about this life, though. No?
Now, it'd be hilarious if like Necropotence played out like an Aven Mind Sensor in response to them sacking their Secure Tribe Elder. Like, yeah, I got an Air Force, bud.
Yeah.
I love that card. Idiot Bird. Card's so great.
Yeah, I remember I had to explain. I ended up reading this random Magic player, and we at the end of one of my streams recently, and we had this talk about how Idiot Bird is the correct name for Even Mind Sensor. It was like, but it's a pretty good bird. It's like, no, it's a good bird, but Idiot Bird is what it's called. That's just its name. It's
it's also like you don't really. If you just put Aven Mind Sensor in your deck, you don't really need to know what your opponent's up to. But if they're up to something that like involves anything unfair, it's probably going to get them.
Oh yeah,
it's just gonna turn them into an idiot. They're gonna be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna sit here and get beat to death by this.
I guess I look at these stupid 4 cards. Sure. My favorite was I think it was in a Pro Tour semi-final. Justin Cohen was playing the Amulet Titan deck, and hi there, Liliana, and they cast some sort of they has the summoner spot.
They have counter spells in this deck. Evasive action. Oh god. Oh no.
Oh no.
Like honestly, that Liliana was probably just going to make 2/2s and then like sacrifice the 2/2s to draw more cards, to try to find a way to end the game because she doesn't really kill people that fast. She's very good.
Yeah.
She's a game-breaking card, but like not really in this matchup. She's not that great.
I mean,
for 6 mana.
If she ultimates, you kind of win the game on the spot.
Yeah, but like they're playing turns, man. Like how is she going to ultimate? Like you're almost better off just like making 2/2s, attacking them a couple times, and then sacking them. Because like they see so many goddamn cards, they take so many turns. Just like you're not wrong. I mean, if she ultimates, she'll kill them. But like for 6 mana, like I know why you play that card because that card does just like break mid-range decks backs in half. Oh, yeah. But against a deck like Turbo Fog, it just does not do that. Like it's just like a big clunky card. You know, it's good, but like I was saying, I mean, like that's why like you'll see like the Liliana, the smaller planeswalkers played more because like if they're marginal in a matchup. They're not expensive and marginal.
Who do you think is a better 6 mana planeswalker? Liliana Dreadhorde General or the 6 mana Ugin, whatever the name is?
So I think the best 6 mana planeswalkers are Ugin and Elspeth Sun's Champion.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking specifically about those two because I think Elspeth Sun's Champion is the best 6 mana planeswalker by.
I think Ugin's very close. I think Ugin may be better.
You think Ugin is close? Okay.
Yeah, because Ugin actually draws you cards. Like Elf doesn't draw you cards.
And they're probably both better than like Big Chandra, right? What's his name?
You talking about the one that is uncounterable?
Awakened Inferno. Yeah. That's about 6 mana Chandra.
Yeah, that one's pretty good, but like it's good in a very specific small subset of decks. I mean, I guess the same is true for like any 6 mana planeswalker. Like they're pretty specific to decks. Like you don't really play them in all the decks because like getting to 6 mana is not like you don't generally expect to have games get to like this state where like how do I put it like.
I don't want to say like I
don't want to say like
what's 6 mana spells.
Yeah.
You know,
like Grim Monoliths and Soul Rings and shit. You know, like you have that kind of stuff. Like you can cast 6 mana cards, but you don't generally expect like natural mana progression of 1 land a turn, up to 6 to 8 mana, to really be a thing in a lot of games of Canadian Highlander. That said, like I've been saying that a lot today, and we've seen a lot of different states that you don't tend to see all that often in Canadian Highlander. We saw a board stall in Cats v Aggro things. We've seen, someone beat like 20 bazillion lands with like 1 WinCon Turbo Fog against the Rock, which like the Rock is like, how do I fucking deal with this? Because they have zero.
Like, excuse me, but what?
Yeah, how do I deal with this? Like you don't, like you don't have the tools for it. I mean, they can. Don't get me wrong, they can, but like it's very difficult because they're not a deck set up to do a lot of damage to their opponent. They're set up to be a control deck, right? I do think
the other 6 mana planeswalkers that have been printed that are in any way close to reasonable. There's like Chandra Flamecaller, which is just worse, and Chandra Awakened Inferno for the most part.
No, not like that card.
There's actually card. What is it like? Dovin Architer of Law is actually not the worst. It's not amazing.
What is it?
It's a Planeswalker deck one. So it's
pop that one up because I don't know what that one does. Like I'm not a huge walker person. Like I play like the really good walkers, but like I don't play like I don't tend to be a person who enjoys like decks that have 20 plus Planeswalkers. No,
that's
right?
fair. But +1 into like gain to life and draw ahead is pretty good. This card isn't great though. I agree with you.
No, that's 6 mana.
Neither of the 6 mana Gurks is particularly amazing.
Yeah. Yep, nope. I can play the 3 mana Teferi, and it's a better card.
Yeah, agreed.
By a lot. Is this a Planeswalker deck card, or is this actual like set card? Magic set card?
That one is a Planeswalker deck card. I think it's the only one that is like somewhat reasonable.
Well, they got some wolves out, and when the wolves die,
Soaring Grim Nemesis is a card also.
That card's a 7 mana one. Yeah, he's
No. He's a 6 mana.
Oh, this one that's in play right now.
Oh.
Is this the one that's in
No,
play right now?
that's the 6-mana one.
Yeah, I guess all I would say is this. There's a lot of Planeswalkers. They're all good. Like, for the most part, they're all good. There's not really any bad Planeswalkers. Like, Tibalt's pretty bad, but, like, most of them are all pretty good. Not when I say Tibalt, there's 2 Tibalts now. The oldest Tibalt.
Vraska Relic Seeker, actually. How do you think she ranks in this?
She's good. She's good.
In this
She's
6-mana
good.
Planeswalker thing.
She's good in decks like the Rock, but, like, I don't think she's even remotely in contention for the best 6-mana Planeswalker. I think that's probably...
Do you think
between...
she's better than Chandra Awakening Inferno? And obviously the
No, I don't. I don't.
I agree with you there, but you know.
I think she's a card that cements position, but I don't think she's a card that really gets you back into the game.
So probably she's number 4.
I don't know. I'm not gonna rank the. I feel like I'm doing like a turtle race. You know, I'm like ranking different turtles in a turtle race.
That's fair.
My opinion would probably be like, I don't know. It's a real toss-up for me between. I think Ugin may actually be better than the Elspeth.
Elspeth Sun's Champion is a messed up card, man.
It is, but it doesn't do all of the things that Ugin does. It's not a card advantage card. It's a card. It's a board advantage card. It's very good, but I think Ugin may be more flexible. Than Elspeth is, and then Chandra I think is probably pretty solidly third for me because she's a board control card. She's uncounterable, which is kind of nice out of your 6 drops. Because if I want to slam a 6 drop, you're probably like, doing it like you're getting across the finish line, and like if this card's going to win me the game, and like the last thing you want to see is like a 4 spike to counter it, or a daze to counter it.
Yeah.
And she also
that's the
everything.
One thing that the other 6-mana Chandra, Flame Caller.
Oh, she's terrible. She's terrible.
I don't think she's terrible.
She's fucking horrible, man. She's not good.
She does
like,
throw cards, though.
Yeah, I thought she made 2, 3 ones, and then she can down tick to like do much damage.
She +1, so she +1s to make 2 3/1s and with haste and attack. She zeros to discard your hand and draw that many hard +1, and
that's right. Yep.
Minus X to deal X damage to each creature.
Okay. Yeah. No.
She's worse than Awakened Inferno. Like I agree with you there.
Yeah, I don't think she's like. I don't think she's.
I played that card in Standard. She was good. There.
Well, yeah, but Standard is a vastly different environment than Eternal. Like playing 6-mana cards in Standard is a lot different.
I remember. I think it was in the Goggles deck. There was this blue-red Pyromancer's Goggles deck that you would that would play her. It was sweet. You would try to have Tormenting Voice with Goggles so that you would discard one.
No, I remember the deck. Yeah, I remember the deck. I don't play a lot of Standard, but I do kind of keep in touch with it and see what's going on a fairly regular basis. I mean, as far as my Magic content consumption goes,
yeah, I just played in Arena. That's my standard.
Well, Goggles was a competitive deck. That was before Arena.
Oh yeah, that was
a while before Arena.
I just played Standard at the time. That's actually like I stopped playing Standard when they moved to the 6-month rotation. That was just a break point for me because I just couldn't keep up, and with like having to make new decks that frequently.
Well, it's very expensive.
Yeah,
too.
it just became very expensive, and then I just never got back into it. It's just how well that ended up working out.
Yep. A lot of change, very expensive, hard to stay with a deck. It's an engulf of these shorts.
Oh man! Speaking of standard cards that are near and dear to my heart, did you ever get to play that see that mono blue like prison deck with Engulf the Shores?
Mono blue what?
Mono blue prison deck with Engulf the Shores.
No. It probably didn't win any events, but maybe I should have won.
It won at least a GP. That's okay.
That's cool.
It was basically this deck where you play
Jesus.
So,
just to wrap up, Necro did take this one.
Managed to get their 2-1.
Yeah, Turbo Fog Engine is gonna be tough. Now for just kind of talking. Yeah, so I think is that Neisan there? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup. Honestly, it's weird to say that like Turbo Fog's a tough matchup, and like no one likes losing to Turbo Fog because you're like, God, your cards suck. But like they just are. They can invalidate so many of your own cards, right? Because like they're not playing creatures to blow your shit up. That said, I do think one interesting like talking point in the matchup generally is that I think you want to more aggressively attack their Howling Mine effects. In the game 2 that you did have options to basically board sweep a lot of your own resources, but knock out their draw engines. Because like you're not wrong in thinking that like a lot of their cards suck, because Fog kind of just does suck. But if you are drawing land plus Fog every turn, like it's pretty good against a board-based deck that's going to kill you with creature combat.
Yeah.
So I think like Abrupt King, the rights, or even like at a certain point later, like playing out the Pern D just to blow everything up, was probably a good option to consider.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I couldn't quite decide. And I just let it go for long enough that it's like, I had gotten to the point on that game too. I just needed to find hand attack to get the fogs out.
The problem is they're drawing 2 a turn 2, and they probably play more fogs than you play hand attack spell. So like you eventually get to like your Thoughtseize or whatever, and you like look at it and like it's like constant miss and like 5 other fogs or whatever, and you're like, oh god.
Yeah, they had 2 more, so I was like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like you can't wait. You gotta take the draw engine.
Yeah, it just took a little too long to get there.
Yeah, I actually Red Bay just talking about standard. There was a Turbo Fog in a standard during the same time, right before Delver was a thing. And it wasn't a good deck, but it won some games. Games.
The last time I remember Turbo Fog being actually a competitive deck that was at the top of the meta was in the Mazezen times. Mazezen Turbo Fog was actually a good
This is
deck.
before.
No, this was before, I agree. But like, Mazezen Turbo Fog was like one of the top decks in the format.
Yeah, it's a fine deck. This one had Rites of Flourishing. It had Rites of Flourishing in it, as I recall. It had Rites of Flourishing, literally, and it had a bunch of fogs. And I remember like I was playing at some event, and like I was playing like it was, I believe, a rug deck of some variety, and I had Huntmaster of the Fells. And the way I won the game was literally by flipping Huntmaster of the Fells like 10 times to dome them out for 2 at a time with a stupid Huntmaster of the Fells. Yeah. They're trying to like mill me. And I guess their only weakness was to mill me. And I just like sat there and flipped the Huntmaster. I'd cast 2 dumb things that went to my graveyard, so my deck size would be bigger when they reshuffled everything. It was interesting. I think it was also they had what was that stupid card? They could gain life too. They had what's the Elixir of Immortality? That's how they shuffled their deck back in.
Oh, Elixir of Immortality.
Yeah, they would shuffle their deck back in.
I mean, it's still better than when Elixir of Immortality was the win con in blue-white control during like Thursday. Because holy moly, that was the whole thing.
Oh, look at the Bailite comment here. I enjoy matchups for paying life with Silver Library is basically free. Yeah, me too. The problem is like when a lot of your cards just do nothing in the matchup, like you can draw as many as you want, and they just don't really, Yeah,
it's like I'm gonna draw my whole deck. Is there anything in this thing that actually gets me out of this? Oh, there isn't. Okay, good.
Yeah. No, again goes back to saying like, if a deck's playing Howling Mine, the Howling Mine is probably more relevant for them than it is for you. That's not always true. All right, I was gonna say we're not watching another Turbo Fog match. We got something else here. We got Cat Tribal. Cat Tribal's in the 2-0 bracket. Cool.
Yeah,
Einstein, I don't know what they're on. I would assume a bug deck.
I don't know.
I don't recall what they play. I believe they're a blue player, but I don't know.
But by blue players, you don't mean that they play blue cards. I mean they're actually colored blue, right?
They actually what?
No, never mind. That was making a terrible joke.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand the terrible joke. It probably didn't get better when you have to explain it.
No, it doesn't. Don't worry about it. We have a hand cam set up for our players. As soon as I see cards in them,
all right.
I'll resize them. Go for it. There you go.
Yep. Okay. So we got a Bant deck. A Bant deck versus the Cats. So what do you think you lead on here? Do you lead on the elf or the cat? Just get cannot intercept Jungle Lion
You,
out there.
you probably want to get your elves on the
I think you
field as
easily
fast
lead
as
up the elf because
possible,
you definitely have a Palace Jailer in hand. Like Palace Jailer is so much better than pretty much every cat in their deck. They may
there
even
is literally no cat in
name
existence that is better than Palace
they
Jailer.
may even name human with their Caverner Souls just to resolve the Palace Jailer.
That would not be
Their opponent
unreasonable.
is obviously on a deck that has flash and flyers, so they will be able to steal the monarchy back. Although I think generally like tempo is going to struggle with aggressive decks. Cats is a weird deck in that it's not like a pile of the best aggressive creatures. It's just a pile of aggressive creatures that work better together.
So they are on banned flash. You.
Yeah, let's say tempo. Band tempo. Well, probably more band mid range because they have a life loam in their hand with the alt art on it. So I would probably say like just bant lands, bant flash lands. Just bant mid range. I'm gonna call it mid range. Yeah, I'm gonna call it mid range of some variety.
Yeah, we'll figure it out as we play. We can always adjust.
It's a blue lands deck. When you got life loam in your deck, you're probably running probably a strip mine. I would assume. They could also be on like a hot tub variety too, but we'll see. You could just check.
Can you remind me what the hot tub time machine deck does exactly, Bills?
Yeah. Sure. So so the lands engine. Let me just explain what a lands engine is first. A lands. All right. So Fast Bond is a Magic card that's printed in ABU, Beta Unlimited, and revised actually. It says you may play any number of lands that you want in a turn. For each land beyond the first one, you take 1 damage. Not life loss, 1 damage because the card is old. So that allows you to just, in certain circumstances, make infinite mana because you have infinite land drops, right? There's a couple ways you can set the card up to do that for you, to make infinite mana or even draw infinite cards or cast infinite spells of the same card. The way you do it is you use Crucible of Worlds and Ramonat Excavator, and you play Glacial Chasm, or you play out Courser Crucifix, Safi Offshoot, or Jati Offshoot, Gladeheart Grazer, like basically these cards that gain you life every time you play a land in some way, shape, or form to counteract the damage taken off of Fast Bond. Because you're able to play lands out of your graveyard, possibly if you have Courser Crucifix or Oracle Moldiah off the top of your deck, you're able to use all your fetch lands to find new lands. And if you find Strip Mine or Wasteland, you can then, target your own lands after they've been tapped for mana to replay your own lands to tap them for mana, to replay the Strip Mine to destroy them, to play them again to make more mana. And basically you have an infinite mana engine. Where infinite mana gets dangerous is when it has infinite cards. And the way you can do that is by using the Canopy lands. There's Horizon Canopy, and there's all the ones that were printed in Modern Horizons, which draw you cards. So you basically pay 1, sack them, draw a card. Which, once you've established this engine, allows you to draw your whole deck and win the game. But you don't need your whole deck. Typically what you need is Mystic Sanctuary, which allows you to put a card from your graveyard back on top of your deck. It's a regrowth for spells, for Sorcery's Instance. So you can put a lightning bolt in your graveyard, or just use a lightning bolt, and you can return it, to the top of your deck, and then use a draw land to draw it infinitely many times, making infinite red mana to cast it at your opponent until they die. But there's a lot of ways to do it. You can even do it without red. You can put Narset plus Cephalid Coliseum in your deck and make sure that your opponent never draws another card in the entire game. And or there's another radical version of it I just recently made, which is called Irish Springs, which you play a Temporal Spring to bounce every permanent that your opponent has on the board and stack their deck with their permanents. There's a lot of ways to play it. Basically, it's just making infinite mana, drawing infinite cards, and playing infinitely many spells. That's all it is.
Players appears to have disappeared.
That's unfortunate. Did they drop?
No, I didn't say anything. I don't know where TasteTheBeams is.
Well, you should probably shoot them a note. They'll show up.
Yeah, I brought them.
And if they don't, then, after the 10, 15 minutes, just drop them. It sucks, but they made something come up, man, So anyways, this game, there's a lot of cats on the board. One of them is a 5/2. There's that's a Gavany Township. These cats are just going to be a wrecking ball. Oh no! Like oof. Like I think these cats are going to be really well set up against this band deck. Like just because like they're not as good as like Vendilion Clicks and even Mind Sensors, but like they just fight so goddamn well.
I mean, white and green have the best ratio in terms of like, power and toughness to mana that you're spending for small creatures. That's just,
yeah, no, white has the best creatures, in my opinion, the best small creatures.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that white has had the best small creatures in like recent years, but but green has some standouts from earlier years in general.
Sure, yeah.
But I definitely do agree with you that like white as a whole, like white gets more power and toughness per mana as long as you're not spending a ton of mana.
Well, no, I actually think green does the power and toughness. I think comes from green. Like the quality comes from white. Like white gets like a lot of first strikers, a lot of flyers. Like white's small, like 1 to 2
white gets
creatures.
Most Savannah Lions than any other colors, though.
Sure, yeah. Like Savannah Lions doesn't have a butt. Like green gets like Tarmogoyf, which is just huge. Like, when you start putting green on cards, they get bigger. They just get bigger. Like white cards just tend to be really good at fighting. Like they have first strike, they have flying, they have evasion, like they have protection mechanics. Like they just fight really goddamn well. Yeah, they're just gonna ride this Gavany Township out. And this Gavany Township is just brutal.
Yeah, Gavany Township is a hell of a card in this board.
Yeah, it's just real hard to race. I mean, maybe they're going to trade with this elf, but like trading your 3-mana card for a 1-mana card is just so bad. Like it's not feel good, right?
It's not bad, but really it's a 1-mana card anymore. Once you have pumped some Gavany Township mana,
that's
at that point you have spent some more mana to make it better. But
all right, but we also put a counter on 4 other creatures, so like,
for sure.
So we traded 3 for 2. I mean, like, I don't,
I agree with you.
All right, so that was a draw. Does that actually allow them to get back in this? That Palace Jailer that might. They could take the King of Pride, and then they have blocks on everything.
They're not even banned. They're 4-color.
Yeah, no, I think they're Czech Pile. It's Czech Pile. Czech Pile Midrange. Czech Pile lands. Which means their card quality is going to be really good. Like, so they have good top decks.
Yeah. Like
I would say they're probably
Palace
base
Jailer,
banned,
for example. Normally, Palace Jailer can try to trade for something, and
it's not going to trade for anything because they're just going to use this.
Look at this cat that the small potato just drew.
Yeah, yep, the Vince McMahon cat. That's the Vince McMahon's cat right there.
The walking cat.
Yeah, no, we're just gonna Gavany Township and just murder their whole board. I mean, they'll get to draw an extra card off of this, but I mean, like, if they're forced to block all of these, they can trade the Vendilion Click off, and then like the other 2 blocks are just chump blocks, right?
Yeah.
I think honestly, I may just attack and see how they block with everything, and if they, you attack with all, slam. Oh no, you got to be aggressive here. You got to steal this monarchy. Oh, this is too passive for my likes. You're just giving them too many draws here. But it is what it is. We all play our games differently. I don't think resolving this 4/4 is better than stealing the monarchy here, though. Or forcing them to basically plague win themselves. Just me. But now they can activate the Celestial Colonnade, which is going to be an effective blocker here. I guess they're still losing the monarchy this turn unless they draw Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile or like a removal spell off of the monarchy. But I definitely think you put yourself in a much better position if you attack with all. And depending on how they block, either use Gavany Township or don't use Gavany Township and just cast your Chameleon Colossus out second main. I think that's more correct here. But, all right, do they draw a removal? Nope, they drew a land. Well, the monarchy will trade hands now. Because now you definitely slam with all. I'm just looking to trade here if I'm them. I'm not even really worried about Cat Tribal anymore. I'm just worried about trading. And like, Chameleon Colossus is just huge. Like it's
Chameleon Colossus is like a 5.
Just massive. It's just a massive card, yeah. Yeah. So
With
the
Gavin
Gavin
also is going to.
They're looking at their deck, but like I don't think you even. To be honest, I don't even really consider that here. I just slam and then consider it after my attack to see if they do anything. Still have 4 cards in hand. Attack with all. Just slam all. Slam all. There you go. Get in there, Blade. Get in there, Blade. You can trade the Blade off. It's
not getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have traded the Blade, but
I would have attacked with all last turn too. Just like slam. Just slam. They're basically it's the abyss. Like they trade at one spot and then they chump at 2 other spots. And then you put them on a spot this turn where if they draw land like they did, they die. They just lose the game. Yep. So, I mean, take it for what it is. I don't know. Certainly don't. It's not like definitive.
Colonnade can eat the elf, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
And
know.
then the clique can chomp, and that's the best it can do.
No, they can trade with. So if they can trade with Vince. They can trade with. Well, they can't trade with Vince. They could trade with the lion.
Yeah, they can put the clique and the Paladin in front of the lion.
Or they can just chump everything and eat the elves.
Yeah, chump 2 things at one thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's just This is if you attack with the lion or the Pride of the 8th Wind or whatever the hell that card is, the 3/1.
You get the Monarchy is the big advantage.
Yeah, you get the Monarchy, which is pretty good.
It's good to be king.
Yeah, it tends to be okay. What do you get here? Just another cat? I mean, you obviously just find an ant or another creature here. Probably a cat of some variety. Be my guess. Could find the Lion King, the guy that puts an additional Savannah Lions on top of.
Honestly, you know what the card they could consider finding here is if they played Mirror Entity.
Yeah, I was thinking Mirror Entity too, but that doesn't really make their team any bigger. It doesn't make it that bigger. It makes them all 5/5s, and there's a couple counters. I guess it's big.
Yeah.
Is it with additional land drop? It would be right because 2 of them have counters. It would make them 6/6s.
The counter
it'd make 2 of them 6/6s, and it'd make Chameleon Colossus the 5/5.
Yeah.
That's interesting, but I mean, I think you just play the one that makes it they can't block. This is good. This is a good find.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
Yeah, there's a fatal push. They're really out of this now. I think they're really out of this one.
I think the
Then they can fetch. Then they can fetch and kill the Miri. Obviously, you can't target Chameleon Colossus with fatal push because it has pro black.
It's like that card has somehow like I've been getting benched.
I really wish Small Potato would just slam though. Just attack. Well, there's the Mirror Entity. They drew it anyway. So we're talking about Mirror Entity and the Devil. The Devil did arrive. It is indeed a Devil as well because that is one of the creature types it constitutes. Please just slam with all. Just slam. Just slay. I mean, they're almost forced to block the Vince McMahon because it's an 8/8 attacker. Just attack with all. Come on. Oh, what? No. Oh, it's killing me. Because they're just going to fatal push and then block. I mean, I guess they have to chump. Oh, man. Get him so many draws. Sorry, guys. I'm a bad spectator. Sometimes. I just want to see cats get them.
Beams finally arrived.
Yeah. Playing against the Monarchy is kind of like a tricky thing, though. Like I think the first couple times I did it, I definitely probably not do it well. I was also probably playing a blue deck that just got utterly ranched by Monarchy. I was like, why is this thing?
You know, I don't think I have ever had my opponent be the Monarch outside of Limited. I've had my opponent try to be the Monarch once in Pauper, but I consider it in response.
I mean, if you're on a blue, like, do nothing control deck, like, you're dead. Like, once that resolves.
I mean, it's fun.
Like, a lot of my decks now, like, that design trend is more popular, like, more proactive design trend. Yeah.
This was post-board, so, like, I could actually steal the Monarchy, because post-board I have creatures in my deck. But the problem is that if I run out of cards before you, then I can't win. So, like...
Sure.
Like, being the Monarch is not good for me either. That deck, which is weird.
Yeah, you need to mill them, right? You mill yourself first. Yeah,
I mean, you
lot
don't
of my-
need to. There's other outs. You can
a
Evincare
lot
of
more
Justice
of,
them to death.
mhm.
You can and like post board, you can attack them with like a Gormagangler. But
Yeah, here's a Tarmogoyf, but it doesn't really matter all that much. They can attack for lethal, I believe.
it looks like it's a lethal attack.
Yeah, I mean, it's +1/+1 counter and everything. Makes it a 6/6. I guess the 3/2 can attack. The Vince McMahon's huge. Yeah, but okay, I just concede to him. Yeah, Einstein on the Czech Pile there didn't really draw very well, but being fair, like, you know, with the way Small Potato played that, they had a lot of draws. They had a lot of ounce to draw. The Monarchy definitely stood their side for a long while, but the proactivity of Cats versus the non-red based Czech Pile, like I think if the Czech Pile has red in it, it tends to get a little tougher for a creature synergy aggressive deck. To get through, but they just didn't really have, you know, great draws. Is that an Arbo? It is an Arbo, the Roar of the Wild, or whatever it's called.
A Rabo, I believe.
Arabo, I'm sorry. I don't really particularly think this hand's that keepable, but they may keep it.
But it does. It certainly does have an Arabo.
Yeah, is it a 5-drop or is it 6-drop?
I have no clue, man. Let me.
Yeah.
Let me check. Let's see how that goes.
I just know that their first play is on 2, and it's not a proactive creature-based play. And I don't really like that.
Rabo is 5 mana.
That said, I mean, this hand's going to be better against a Toxic Deluge draw because they're not going to be like just dumping their hand. Well, they're going to dump that card on the board. That 2-drop.
So to be clear, the reason that Small Potato is playing a hard deck is because he bought the OMG Kiri's Secret Lair and wanted to use it, right? Like that's what's happening here.
Well, yeah, man. Like, I mean, that's 100% what's happening here. I mean, like, if your avatar is a cat and you're playing Cat Tribal, I assume, and you have like all these like flash altered art cat cards, I assume that you really enjoy that tribe for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but like it doesn't matter. Like they do. I guess that's why they're playing it. You know.
Actually, speaking of Secret Lairs, mine got here, so that's exciting. I now have I bought 2 recently, so now I have access to.
I didn't know I had a Secret Lair Blood Moon yet. They have a Secret Lair Blood Moon.
No, they have not done Secret Lair Blood Moon, but they have done the International Women's Day one, which has gotten me a Narset, which I wanted for a Commander deck, and also I now have four very cool Thalias with different art that I'm not playing.
Yeah, the Thalia art I thought was pretty sweet. As a guy who enjoys playing Death and Taxes a decent bit.
It's also just good value, right? You're paying $30 for 4 Thalias. That's just good.
Yeah. So this board state's interesting, right? Again, this 3/3 is holding back these 2/2-powered attackers, and this Toxic Deluge looks really embarrassing based on how you've developed your hand.
Yeah, your Toxic Deluge. Yeah.
That's kind of what I was saying is like this hand. I don't think Small Potato's hand was particularly a good keepable hand, but like I could see it getting there against the hand that Einstein kept because it's going to kind of strand the Toxic Deluge because they're not going to play a lot of threats out. They're not going to flood the board.
Oh, there's the other Miri.
Yeah, there's the old Miri in there. The old nice. Mono green Miri. Not a particularly playable Highlander card outside of playing her in a very specific niche archetype like Cats. She's actually a pretty good card though. Like for the time that she was printed, like a first like, Forest Walk Vigilance 2/3 is a pretty good body for 3 mana. Like I asked myself, like, would I play this in limited? Yeah, probably. You know, like it's a good card. When you start making it like a 5/4, you know, that's very good.
It's one of the first cards that they printed that has 2 creature types. Well,
is it?
At the time, 3 creatures.
Cat Warrior.
Yeah, it's both a cat and a warrior, which was fairly unusual at the time. I think the first time when they started.
When it was printed, it didn't just say Summon Legend.
Yeah, but it actually has text that says Miri Cat Warrior counts as a Cat Warrior.
Counts as, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think at the first time where they printed, started printing a bunch of creatures that had like multiple types, all like on the type line, was during Odyssey block, right? Because they had the birds that were all like bird soldiers and stuff. And, like,
Tribal's really weird to me. Like tribal synergies and I do think there are some strategic reasons to play tribal decks. I don't generally think outside of like goblins, that they're strictly better decks than other decks you could play with just higher quality cards.
I think like
but the
Goblins
thing that's
is
interesting,
definitely there. Merfolk I think is relatively close. I think Merfolk would actually, I feel, be there if
my
you
point
like...
wasn't really that like you can't build them. It was more that like what's interesting to me about them is like how much of a massive fan base there are for those decks. Like there's a lot of folks who just enjoy playing tribal decks just from the standpoint of like I love cats, I love goblins, I love elves. Like not because of anything the deck does. In the game of Magic.
It's not a matter of how the deck plays. You just like cats because they're cats.
Exactly, and it's really like I never like me personally. I've never like understood it.
Yeah,
but
no,
I
mean,
acknowledge
I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
And I bring it up because like this is a thing that if you really enjoy it, you can do it in Canlander. You know, maybe not all equally. I'm still waiting for more Brushwags to get printed because Brushwag Tribal, baby. That's my
It's gonna be one in the next set.
I'm tracking. You know, I'm excited, man. It's my second Brushwag. Outside of Changelings.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you there. Like for me, I enjoy playing tribes when they lead to a type of gameplay that I enjoy, and there are some tribes that do that, right? There are some tribes where it's like, oh, these, like I like playing Merfolk because they play, you know, this whole thing of playing small idiots and play lords that buff them. And
yeah, but all right, so let's be real about Merfolk in Canadian Highlander, though. In Canadian Highlander, if you want to play a deck that does exactly what Merfolk does, but is better and wins more games, just play Sorensen, blue-green Sorensen. But my point was more so that
different deck. You don't have lords in Sorensen.
Yeah, but you do the same thing. You know what you do is you play a Mana Gorger, which is like 3 of the cards that you have to play in elves to make it do the same thing. Same deck. It's the same deck. It's just better because it plays cards that do the same thing on one card. My point. But like my point really wasn't to like dog on tribal or like say what tribal is better than other tribal and all that. Like it's you know, that's just irrelevant. But like my point was really more so like I think it's really cool that like you know you're able to do these kind of decks in this format, and while they're not really my cup of tea, I think it's really cool that they are just things that exist. They can exist, and they do exist. Yeah, like casting a T-Del here, like I guess it makes this thing a 4/4, so they can cast T-Del and blow up the board, and then make their Grimflayer a 1/1, and then attack and get a look with the T-Del, and the Finks comes back. And if Jailer hits, they're in a rougher spot. They're going to know their top deck, and they have a Jace to kill the Jailer with a flashback on the Collective Brutality to steal the Monarchy. And they have a Gideon. Okay, I think they're going to lock this one up. It wasn't looking great for them in the beginning. That T-Del was kind of awkward and how it paired up with the Small Potato's hand, but they definitely found a line to get good utility out of it.
Yeah, I mean, Small Potato still has like a bunch of mana issues, which haven't helped.
Well, it's cats. It's it's gonna have a few of those issues. It doesn't have cantrips. It's probably not on a ton of mana doors. It's on some. There's swords.
This plow art reminds me. Did you see that the folios are doing a Kickstarter with like a bunch of playmats with their old arts? This is actually one of the arts that they're doing.
No, that's a good art though. Honestly,
I've been considering to buy like the Humility playmat or the Shahrazad playmat just because they look completely absurd. But
did they put the Shahrazad playmat out?
It's being kickstarted right now. Yeah. Shahrazad is an option.
Yeah, I was joking. I was joking with the Discord. I was like, "Yeah, these are great, but they don't have Shahrazad, so I can't buy one."
And now they do.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It's like I like Foglio art to a certain extent, but I it's very iconic for me, but I don't like intrinsically like it.
Oh, I mean, it's very
some people love it, like they're just crazy about it. I think it's cool.
It's very
for me, it's more about nostalgia. It's unique, yes. But for me, it was like some of the first comic book kind of style magic. Like
for sure. Like I like it because it's unique. I don't necessarily like it because it's like the best.
What I liked about Magic art from that time frame is that there was variety in it. There was more variety in it. In that time frame, they've
been doing surveys about that. Like I remember that they were asking about like, hey, like, would you enjoy if we try to like older if we try to bring back like older styles of art? And if you see, for example, there are a couple of arts like commanding presence, for example, right? In Theros Beyond that, let me bring that up. It definitely has an art that is more reminiscing of older time. I don't super like the art by itself, but it's definitely looks like old Magic art.
The big thing, the big thing about older Magic art is not like specifically that like it's just older Magic art has a look. Like, yes, it does look different, right? It's hand done. It's not computerized, which is different, but really more so it was about the variety of the different types of art that were on old cards that, in my opinion, made them more iconic. And one of like the things that I'll commonly say and it's a joke, it's a little tongue in cheek, is that like I couldn't tell you the difference between a promo goblin guide and a promo Chandra Porch of Defiance, from across the room. But I sure as hell could tell you the difference between a Winter Orb and, an Ashnod's Altar from across the room, because the art is just very unique on them.
Yeah.
It's just very specific to them, and like you're like, that's a Winter Orb. Like you see the bear and you're like, holy shit, it's a fucking Winter Orb, man. Whereas like a lot more of the art is a little more homogenous now, which is the big thing for me. I don't think it's about per se style. Well, I do think it's about style, but I don't think it's about like going from like a new style to an old style. I think it's about like going from just having as many options out there as possible. Like Stasis, people look at Stasis like, what the hell is going on in this card? But it's like very iconic because it is so goddamn weird, and like, but I like that about it. Like it's more variety, really. Is really what it
record. If you want to take a look at the Folio Kickstarter, I put the link in chat.
Cool.
It is pretty sweet. So another thing that they decided to do, which I'm not sure that they are that they decided to do, but they're like at least looking into it, is that they're trying to do a bigger playmat, like a playmat that is about the size of 4 playmats that you can play, like for example in a 2-head giant game for both you and your opponent. That has the 4 Mishra's factory arts, one on top of the other, like one.
That's pretty cool.
In a 2x2 grid, and that sounds also pretty good.
It's very sweet, man. Just so we go back to the game here. This game's probably kind of over. It's been over for a little bit.
Yeah, the Chase is probably gonna ult. Right?
Well, it's not about the Chase ulting. This demonic two-stager, they've got board advantage. Their opponent's on a tribal deck that lost their initial onslaught. The tribal deck, what it really needs to do is like gain an early foothold and maintain it, kind of like a tempo deck would, because a lot of its cards rely on each other to be powerful. Like Savannah Lions is not like intrinsically a really uber powerful card that you should see played Eternal a lot, but when you make it a 1-mana 4/3, it is like you play a Lord or whatever.
I understand
and that also means you're like top.
Sorry, Asmallpotato decides to pack it in. We're going to game 3.
Your top decks are just going to be more marginal because you're going to draw like Jungle Lion and stuff like that. And Jungle Lion, turn 5 is like not good, right? But if you play it turn 1 and you play Lord, like this hand's great because like you have a turn 2 Thalia into a turn 3 Burmaz in their
turn 1 Thalia, actually.
I'm sorry, turn 1. This hand's going to probably murder their opponent.
Yeah, I think the murdering is going to happen. There's going to be some amount of murdering going on.
And this is another thing too. Like you can play cats, and like sometimes you'll draw your Moxen and just murder people, especially on the play. Yeah, the mana's a little awkward, but the I kind of hope you don't name humans. All right, they named cat. Good. I was like then you're not casting your Burmaz on turn 2. Like you may have to just Swords to Plowshares. The Burmaz here. Well, they're playing their cat. They said, F it. Like, I'm just going to play my cat. I don't care. I love it. The right play, I believe, is just to play Thalia out and just goozle them.
Yes,
I mean,
100% agree, but it could be...
The birds are going to get around the Thalia anyways. But... like, if you make this play, you're probably not playing Thalia on turn 2 either. You're probably just playing out this Burmaz, then Thalia on 4, and then Rashad and Port with Thalia. That's still good. I mean, this is just a mox draw, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm adding a quote to the thing.
What's that?
You can play cats. Sometimes you'll draw your Moxen and just murder people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what Moxen do, right? I mean, like, Moxen and, like, fast mana is not bad. You can play some pretty questionable cards, and if you do them faster than they're supposed to be done, like, they're pretty good. It's lethal. It's lethal. A good one. Well, if you got lethal, you should do lethal.
If it's lethal, it's lethal.
Oh. All right, so the big cat got demolished. That's another cat. That's going to be a 1/1 cat. Oh, yeah, you definitely just play out your Rashad and Boyer, tap their land down after playing a Thalia out to goozle them. Although, like, honestly, like, this hand looks really great, but, like, I still gonna be fine. Like,
Really?
oh, what's going on here? So they really want to get this 1/1. They really want to get this 1/1 down. Now you can't Rashad and Port, so I guess you just play land and play Thalia and attack. I guess screw Daze. Daze is not a card. Okay, Rashad and Port. All right, I'm gonna play the Rashad and Port out, and you just swing in there with your double striking 1/1. Like, this cat, if it ever dies, this 1/1 becomes very problematic, right? Because it becomes a 4/4 double striker, right?
4/4 double strike is pretty good. It already has double strike. It's just a 1/1 double strike. It's kind of a 2/1.
I mean, it's how much does it cost? Is it 6 mana or is it 5 mana?
5. It's
5
white, I believe. Let me bring it up.
I mean, I thought it was 6, but if it's 5, that's very good.
Pretty
Like,
sure it's 5.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That's a good card. I was surprised that it never got never really got any standard.
Well, I think the problem is, especially in like this format, is like there's a lot of stuff that exiles stuff from graveyards. So like Eternalize is kind of tough. Like the front half needs to be good too. Like the front half's not like great at 5. So like they actually can't do it. They only have one white. They only have one white mana,
which is not exactly the best card in the universe.
All right, she technically cannot be cast, right? Because they don't have double white.
Hey, that's not a cat.
Well, it looks like a cat, but it can't be cast.
It's not a cat. It cannot be cast because it's not a cat.
Yeah, so actually, they're kind of just gotta say go. I mean, you could attack here and see if they want to block. You should have played your land first if you want to attack with your double striker. Be like, hey, I'll trade you, and then I'm going to play my planes and play this 4/4 double striker. But you
not
probably
only since Eternalize is still Eternalize is an activated ability, isn't it? It's not you're not casting the spell, so you cannot Eternalize the cat.
You can also what?
You cannot Eternalize the cat if it dies.
Why could you not Eternalize the cat if it dies?
You cannot make double white. The Cavalry Soul doesn't make mana for
that's correct. That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I was saying that. I was like, they don't really have a... I think you had a pretty free attack, though. If you didn't play the land drop out, I think you have a pretty free attack, because you can just attack and be like, hey, I've got my planes, and if you want to block this thing, you can kill it with your Leovold, then it's going to come back as a 4/4. I kind of like that, that bluff. Like, it's a bluff attack, but, like, it's a fine bluff. Like, I don't think I would block it. I'd be like, all right, go ahead. Like, I don't want a 4/4 right now, you know? I mean, I don't know if the difference between 14 and 12 is going to matter that much. What's that? What are you giggling about over there?
Oh, TasteTheBeams just sent a message that says, Blahguy 120. I conceded out of shame. Let me see what's going on.
So,
a couple of drops.
Grafted War Gear may have been a good draw. Grafted, you know, sometimes you can play cats. When you draw your Mox in your Grafted War Gear, you just murder folks flat.
Grafted War Gear is...
it's pretty good with double strike, I heard.
So, RarerMonsters... drops.
They can even stack... They can even, like, use this once they draw the planes to turn the cat into a 4/4 double striker. It also has lifelink, right? Jesus. Oh, God. Oh, it hurts.
Neisan drops.
All right, we have a kill spell. They can dredge this back to put cards in their bin so they can use the treasure cruise. I kind of almost like drawing it just to put fuel in the graveyard for treasure cruise, because that just shows you more cards. Not because you want to cast Life Bloom again because you're getting beat to death by this dumbass cat. I'm sorry, I say dumbass cat. This this dubious looking card in the format that is like very good in this deck. I actually appreciate goofy cards. If you look through the deck database that I posted, you will see that I have some goofy decks. But like, no one would ever confuse whatever this cat's called, the Sacred Cat or whatever it is, Adorn Pouncer, as a high quality Magic card. It's just like, it's just very good in the deck it's good in. It is cool art too, by the way. I'm just looking at it. That thing. Got gold all over its face. Oh, it doesn't have lifelink. I thought it had lifelink for some reason too. Which is the one that has lifelink? Isn't there like an Adorn Pouncer that's like a 1-drop that recurses for 1 mana as well? It's a lifelinker. Do you remember, man?
So sorry, excuse me. I was doing tournament stuff. People are dropping / not dropping.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, yeah. Einstein's in a very tough spot here. They're like considering.
This is round 3, right? I'm not crazy.
This is game 3, yeah.
Okay.
This is game 3 in the match. Yeah.
No, this is round 3. We're playing. This is the
correct.
Finals.
Yeah. This is it.
Okay.
Is Cat's gonna win the
like
final?
2 people, Hendral and both Hendral and Neisan were like, I'm gonna drop.
It's gonna get
after this round. I'm gonna drop. It's like this is the last round.
So you definitely attack here. Like you're not gonna be able. Are you still there, bud?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. It's really quiet. I was like, "Do you lose connection or why disconnect?" It's too bad this Armageddon is not going to be able to get cast because it's going to get spell snared or spell pierced rather. But this Armageddon would just like lock them out. Now, please, just let's start using Rashadan Port here. Start using this Rashadan Port. I mean, I guess you try to slam this Geddon and see what happens. I don't think it makes a ton of sense to try to slam Geddon here.
All right, I'm paying attention to the game again. What just happened? Sorry.
Sure. So we're either going to see Small Potato slam Armageddon here, which is going to get countered by a Spell Pierce, or they're going to leave up Rashadan Port, but they're not going to do that. Their OP has a lot of lands in hand, and is being murdered by an Adorn Pouncer with a Grafted Wargear on it.
Yeah, that'll do it. How about this 4/3 double strike?
And they've been under Abyss Lock for the last 2 turns, so yeah, just Adorn Pouncer with a Grafted Wargear on it. I mean, like, fetching now is starting to put them in a closer life total, too, because if their OP ever hits a fetch land, they can just turn this Wild Macodal into a 3/3 and hit them for a lot of damage. All right, Palace Jailer was a very good draw. That's actually going to allow them to get back into this game. But Grafted Wargear will get equipped on something else.
To nobody's surprise, Neko and Loading will need to go to game 2. We need to start another match for game 3. This was probably going to be an interesting match because I'm sure that Loading has some spicy piece of tech that is going to completely invalidate whatever Neko's doing. But also, Neko's doing something very
I mean,
weird.
sadistic Sacrament. Like, you can just take all the win cons out. And if they're playing that card, so they could do that. All right, this Palace Jailer is actually going to now make it so I guess Thalia is still kind of the Abyss. Like, they have to block Thalia, too, because they're dead to her with a Grafted Wargear. She's a 5/3 attacker. Has first strike. So the birds will jump in the front of her. And if they ever hit, they get the Adorn Pouncer back. This is a funny game. This is great. This is just good awesome. Slobber knocker magic. They want to hit a fetch here, so they can one cast this god. Oh, that's a good one to draw, but it can't be cast because of Thalia. They probably just kill the Wargear, honestly. I think you equip Wargear to Thalia, slam, try to slay. The problem is they're going to equip this.
Does have
the Wargear. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But this Abrupt Decay is going to kind of wreck them because they're going to blow up the Grafted Wargear, and the Thalia will die. But the Thalia is going to eat a birds beforehand. I mean, I find it very likely that they will equip the Grafted Wargear to the Thalia and just swing. Yeah, and then they will be able to Abrupt Decay it and kill it. And then Treasure Cruise. Ostensibly from the point after which they Treasure Cruise, the game's probably over. They hit the Palace Jailer kind of on probably the last turn they could really hit that card.
Yeah.
If it had been just removal, I think Small Potato is still in a good spot, but Palace Jailer was like the right card to hit.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Palace Jailer, it does everything, right? It gives you some amount of board presence.
It's not a great
magic
magic
card. Advantage engine.
Not a well-designed magic card. But it's one that you will generally play in decks that are able to cast it because it's very, very, very good.
It is very good.
Yeah. So I think we'll just see them blow up this war gear here. And then treasure cruise would be my guess. Fetch, fuel up the bin. All right, they're going to tap. This is the first time Port's going to do a thing.
Yeah, I mean, Leovold kind of makes it not great.
That's true. That's true. Yep. They may be like, oh man, why did I do that? Well, there's a Raminep Excavator, which is another blocker. They make green mana with this, so they can make black mana plus one more, and then approach decay the war gear, I guess. That's probably the best use of it. Although the Fleecebane Lion will become...
Fleecebane Lion can become hexproof and indestructible.
Wait a second. Oh, this is a pretty significant... This is a sizable misplay on Einstein's part. Like, you should blow up the war gear there, because if the war gear becomes detached, the Thalia will die. War gear does have a downside. So now they can make... If their opponent doesn't hit removal here, they can make a massive Lion and then equip the war gear to it.
Yeah, they make a Lion into a 4/4 with hexproof and indestructible. And then strap the war gear to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's going to get their Batter Skull.
And at that point, that's just going to be there to stay.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening here.
Like, I have some experience looking at Fleecebane Lion that has been monstrous, and that thing does not leave the board very often.
It just depends on the matchup. Like, you know,
I've Perilous Volter it in Standard.
Yeah, I mean, like, it depends if you're playing like a Wrath deck. You just deal with not a Wrath, like a Terminus deck, like a Terminus, Toxic Deluge, Languish. I think was in the same format actually. As it
the way that I have seen it happen is via Perilous Vault. You just exile it that way, but
yeah. That was the blue-black deck. I forget the name of that. It ran the stupid Pearl Lake Agent card, I think.
Pearl Lake Agent. Yeah.
Dredging from the annals of my memory. That Batter Skull is going to be really kind of probably tough to get through. Yeah, and I don't know here. Like, unless there's like a way to give something that they've got on their side evasion, I feel like, generally speaking, they're probably going to have a very tough time getting out of this. Like, if they can ever steal a Monarchy, I think the cat, like Small Potato, can. Oh, they drew the removal one draw too late. Oh no, there's the Fatal Push that would have dealt with the Lion before it became just a wrecking ball.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen now.
Yeah, there's a Winter Orb, though. I mean, they could opt to play Winter Orb, just try to lock it up. But I think at this point, you just need to make this Lion huge.
Yeah, you just make a huge Lion.
Yeah, I mean, they have a bird, too. So, like, we'll see how they play it. Like, Small Potato's done some things that, like, I would play some things personally differently. But, you know, we all play the game our own way. This is actually I like this play, though, because they can, like, leave open the option as to whether they want to play the Winter Orb or... You know, I want to say ultimate, but whatever it is, like a monstrous Fleecebane
Lion, yeah.
Yeah.
I would take the opportunity to monstrous the Lion, honestly.
We know from our position that monstrous the Lion is really good here, but they don't know that, and I could definitely see a very strong argument.
They go for Winter Orb.
Yeah, I think there's a very strong argument for that, but I mean, when they get Fatal Push here, they're just going to be hurting.
Oh, the Lion is a 2-drop. Yeah, it can get Fatal Pushed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think you need a push.
I mean, if this God Eternal Locator resolves on a Winter Orb board, that's still kind of a huge deal.
Yeah. I mean, like, the Winter Orb is no joke, right? They have to tap down for this Fatal... I guess they could save the Fatal Push and then in response... they probably will in response to the Fleecebane monstrous thing, but I honestly don't know that I monstrous it. I don't think I would. I mean, like your attack is basically if you get hit with anything, they die. They're at 3 life. So like,
do you Shadow Port the Scrubland down at the end of turn?
No, I don't. Here, I want them to tap their mana. I don't want to tap 2 of mine to get one of theirs. They have a birds in play, so like if they didn't have a birds, I'd say yes. What I do here is I equip the war gear, and I attack, and I force them to cast their spell, but they should cast it right here. They should cast it here. Yeah, they should cast it here, which makes sense. It's like, okay, yep, got it. And now what they have to hope for is to draw any land, like any white producing land.
Yeah,
and
any land that taps for white.
Yeah,
they can
play this
really
big dumb ass out, and Yeah, it's a Guif.
Although
It's fine. That's fine. Any threat's fine, honestly.
Yeah,
But they're gonna
it
have a
is
Guif
still
next
it
turn
is
to
still
four,
like
five.
a mass block threat, right?
Yeah.
Because you can strap the war gear on it, and now like it still attacks for lethal. So
I do think you strap the war gear on it just to play around collective brutality. You know, like I've already seen Abrupt Decay. Trophy could get you. They're going to cast a Goif out, which is a 4/5, but the Lion trades off with Goif. They could also leave a counter. I can't leave a counter spell. That's not a solid play. Yeah, I mean, the Winter Orb is very good. So, like, don't get me wrong. I was like, you can see them. Okay, they're going to do this, which is going to take them off of. Oh, okay. I actually like this line. So they get. Well, I guess I don't mind it. It's not the best, but it's fine. You know, they're going to tap down for this. They're going to trade the jungle, the 1-drop, the 2-drop, which is not a bad trade.
yeah.
It's not great, but it's not bad either.
Oh, Pride Sovereign.
Yeah.
That can potentially make more must answer threats.
I don't recall what all that card does. I know it's good
so
with the
it
cats.
bumps itself equal to the cards you control.
Okay,
And,
well, you're just gonna trade.
You can tap and exert it to make cards.
Yeah, what you're gonna do is you're gonna trade with the Tarmogoyf here in combat, force them to play a Snapcaster or a Dark Confidant out. If it's Dark Confidant, you probably just let them draw with it because they're at 3. It'll probably be a Snapcaster, instant speed. That'll block the Lion, which will be a 5-something, a 5 huge, 5/4. Okay, so the Goif gets eaten by Crafted Warrior's been beating the dog crap out of much better cards.
It's such a card.
It's a good one, yeah.
So
that's a good one to draw.
There is also an argument that like you can start making more idiots with this Pride Sovereign, right? And it does eat you into a bunch of tempo, but it does keep making more and more lethal threats. Like each one of these idiots needs to be blocked.
The Brazen Borrowers are actually a pretty relevant draw here because it can bounce if they equip, but they probably shouldn't equip the Fleece Mane, this Lion, because they can just make the thing and make it a 3/3 in response. That's a
Berserk.
Yeah. They should just attack here. I mean, I guess, yeah, maybe this becomes a 3/3 when it makes the thing, right? It makes it a 3/3. So they have to have a flash blocker. They'll probably just bounce the cat. And they can still leave up Rashad in port. I think I like attack, exert. Don't equip, yeah.
Oh, no, you can't. You can't. That's not what the exert ability does.
Huh? Oh, they didn't exert, though. Why did they exert?
No, exerting, that's not how the exert in this card works. You cannot attack and exert. You need to actually activate the ability to exert. It has an ability that is white top exert Pride Sovereign,
I'm sorry.
make 2 cards.
I'm just so goddamn used to exert abilities being tied to combat that I thought it had to be done in combat for whatever goddamn reason.
In Hour of Devastation, they started adding these other exert.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're 100% right, dude. I got you. Are we going to see a Berserk kill here? Can Berserk kill through a Batter Skull? Is my question. I don't know.
I don't think so.
All right, there's a Batter Skull.
I mean, it can probably only got Eternal Oketra, but...
Oh, for sure. It's a dual striker, man. I think I'll take the damage off of it. No? Okay, don't want to lose the game right now. All right, so they have Mana Leak up and some stuff. That was pretty big. That Brazen Borrowers was pretty huge.
Oh, Knight of Autumn. Knight of Autumn is going to get the job done here, isn't it?
Well, there's a mana leak. There's a Mana Leak in their hand, so they can counter it.
Yeah, I mean, if you had deployed the Knight of Autumn first, no, okay, you still didn't have enough mana to also pay for it, but...
Okay, so we cast this. They can cast a Mana Leak in response to tap their opponent down. Okay, this resolves. They have a kill spell, I believe, in their graveyard, which means Snapcaster can kill the Pride Sovereign.
They don't have Revolt, right?
All right, so I want to let you know, Necro is having a bunch of technical difficulties right now, and so we were asking how to proceed from here.
So what's happening exactly?
So Necros can't log, like they keep crashing when they log into MitGo.
Oh. Unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean,
if they're unable to complete the match, they're gonna have to forfeit it. But it's, it is what it is. Like, If she's welcome to keep trying for like a little longer to see if things. Oh, by the way, Einstein also has 40 seconds on the clock, and which is something I had not realized before. So if you, I won't gonna. If the game is gonna time out because of technical difficulties, I think it's fair to restart it and see where that goes. I think that's fair, right? Loman, what's your opinion?
Which game are we talking? Are we talking about Necro's game? Or are we talking about this game?
Necro versus Einstein, yeah.
Because this game's gonna come to time too. They're at 0-0-0-4. Necro's game. Yeah, I mean, if we have the time, if they can't like relog in like 20 minutes, I would say like probably just have to cank it, man. That's not like that's not like a Motoism thing. It's just like if the internet's not working. I mean, what can you do? I mean, I call on it. I mean, I don't want to shortchange someone.
Yeah, the question is that I think that one of the people's clock is being consumed. So like, if one of them times out and because of the technical difficulties, then go further, like
Einstein's going to lose this one.
Just not count, right?
Einstein's losing this one due to time as well. They just timed out. I think they're at 0-0 on the clock.
Oh, I see.
Moto is having difficulty on my end for some reason. My internet connection is fast and fine. I just checked it. It's not due to the internet. Just Moto being Moto.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. It crashed on me and now it's like not letting me log back on. I'm trying. I'm currently loading.
So here is my problem with what's happening with time here. Like, it would probably just be better to just restart the match when we went to game 3. But now, okay, talking about the Einstein versus a small potato game, right? Like, we had a game that was played and reached completion, and a bunch of game actions were taken during the game that lead to people doing things. And I don't know how comfortable I'm with the game not counting because it happened to go to time.
No, I mean, I think with that one, like that was game 3.
Yeah. So I think that if this had been brought up, probably the correct. We might want to just have a policy that if we start a game 3, just do it in a different match always.
Hold up, can we just split?
Okay, and this is for the small potato versus Einstein situation.
Oh, okay.
Neko, Neko and
I'm
Boeing,
here.
Oh
my god! It loaded. It's a miracle.
Okay.
It actually fucking.
Believe them. All right.
Okay. So you guys go do your thing. You folks go do your thing and go play. Einstein for the Einstein versus small potato game. I think that realistically, what probably should have been done was to start game 3 on a new game. I'm not sure how comfortable I am with saying that this whole game that got played and is not gonna count.
Yeah, no, I think honestly at this point that me personally, my opinion, your tournament to run. I think you just let it stand. Is a victory for small potato, and I'm sorry, Einstein. I don't. It's just that. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I agree that
it wasn't a clear cut one. It wasn't a clear cut one where like someone's playing Turbo Fog and they're on game 2, and it's like, all right, guys, hey, you're on game 2. Like you're in a very commanding position. Like it's going to take you forever to still win this game. Like once you're done winning it, go to the next game. Yeah,
I will probably try make a rule that for next time, if there is if the match goes to game 3, just go to a new match just to avoid this timing issue.
If you're below a certain time, like just cut it, then concede. But you do need to concede and then concede so that the right person has the die roll. The right person needs to have the die roll.
100, yeah, that's for sure. Like, not even
just
concede,
fair,
not even necessarily concede, right? You can just, whoever wins the die roll can put the person that needs to be on the play.
If they want to be, they may not want to be on the play if they've broken landless dredge. But, they probably want to be on the play. But yeah, I mean, Einstein, what do you think on that, man? Do you think that's pretty fair? Or do you think that's unfair?
Einstein is not in this call anymore, but...
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I didn't want to, shortchange someone, but like...
but I think at this point it's fair. I do think that probably what should have happened was that we started a new game, a new match starting.
Yeah.
starting the next time. But given how things have worked out, I think it's fair to let this stand. And while we wait, we get to watch some more Turbo Fog.
Yep. And I think Einstein may be able to call, but yeah, I mean, that's a tough spot. It's really hard for anyone to make a good call that makes everyone happy in that.
Yeah.
But it's also like real hard to just be like, all right, well, this third game doesn't count, and we're gonna replay a completely different game.
Yeah,
I mean,
because that's
it's unfair to one player or the other.
Yeah.
It's a very unenviable spot for like a tournament organizer to have to make that call. So I think like what you're saying is 100% on point. Like in the future, it's probably just best if Moto is lagging because there's like a bazillion people in their homes right now because of the plague roaming the earth. The internet's slower and everything's kind of breaking on the internet because there's a bazillion people on it. Just after you finish your second game, like if you're very low on time because you're having to play by tournament room rules so we can view it, just go to a alternate match and concede games as appropriate to give the right person the dial and play your third game out.
Yeah, I mean, not even again, it doesn't necessarily even need to concede. Whoever you can just ask the other guy, hey, do you want to play or the draw? And then put them on.
No, just do it. Like I would set a standard for time.
Works, but like
I would say, hey, if you're below 10 minutes, just start a second match and play your third game out.
Yeah, I mean,
the game goes to fruition.
And it's probably just a good idea to just, if we go to game 3, just make like regardless of time.
Especially in this event where it's like not a moneyed event. Like if it was a money event, like if you go to time, you go to time. Like on a money event,
no,
I mean,
I kind of agree with you there. But like especially for these, like the goal is to watch good Magic, not to play against.
Exactly. This format's for fun. I mean, it's not.
Like honestly, we would play with like 40 minutes clock.
You just can't view it. Yeah.
We could, but we can't because we need to be on the tournament practice.
Yeah,
that is the problem.
View it. So this is one of please wait loadings more aggressive hands. They have
it's kind of a mess.
Are they playing Sui?
This person is named Loading in Discord. Please wait in Magic Online and unable to load on Twitch.
Yeah, I'm not gonna think that hard about it. I just like what I'm shocked about is like they were on this like more like techie like black mid-range deck, and now they're casting like Tyrant's Choices and like playing Bone Splitters. So they're just trying to
it looks like they're more aggressive for sure. But that's probably gonna serve them well against the Turbo Fog deck, right? Like you probably can murder them before they start.
It depends, right? They're gonna need more. The one thing that Black has that a lot of folks disregard, but is actually really relevant, is a lot of life lost creatures, not damage based creatures, but life loss. So like, you have cards like I can't think of all their names now, but there's a lot of 1/1s like the pulse trackers. There's a lot of pulse trackers in Black, and that's actually really relevant in a couple of different decks. Like it's relevant in this case right here where their opponent's playing Turbo Fog, which does damage prevention in combat. But it's also relevant against like lands decks that play Glacial Chasm as kind of a pillow fort. There are some prison decks that play Crumbling Sanctuary. Like there's a lot of cards that actually do like Worship is a card that could see play. Doesn't often, but it could. But there's a lot of cards that actually stop damage pretty well.
Eyesight Golem.
But not life loss. So like Karavak Spite is a life loss spell. I've definitely killed someone with a Glacial Chasm in play just by casting a Karavak Spite and just murdering their face, There's Engulf, but they're just gonna recast all these cards. Like so like they're when Turbo Fog doesn't have a draw engine, it's gonna lose to aggro. When it gets a draw engine, it can definitely beat aggressive decks. But yeah, Black specifically is kind of an interesting spot where, like, because of the pulse tracker effects, like you can definitely get around Fogs.
Yeah, Fogs doesn't.
Red honestly like has a hard time with it. Like Red needs like it's Skullcrack, it's Stomp / Bone Crusher Giant, or just needs to go so fast that like they just can't keep up with you. But
also it is worth mentioning that Bailite. We're gonna have a split turn. I mean, they're both gonna get the full 3 points tournament win bonus, but there's both Bailite and Bailite also went 3-0. Bailite got to the 6 points.
Cool. That's good deal.
That's neat.
Alrighty.
Death
Ratch Shaman is another life loss card, so that can get around Fogs. Yeah.
Is this still game? Okay, I'm gonna ask them if this is still game 1, because if it is, I'm probably not gonna watch the whole match because this is a lower bracket thing. And
Okay. Yeah, please wait. Just won the match anyway. So
oh,
please wait. Just murder them. Loading. Just murder them. So
okay, never mind then.
we kind of got to see
Loading 2-1 Necro. Okay.
we got to see the life and the death of Turbofog. Turbofog is very sweet to see work, but when it doesn't work, it doesn't do much anything at all. It's kind of just one of the trade-offs of the deck. Very cool deck, though. I'm glad Necro bought it. I'm glad we got to watch it kind of play out, see how it plays out in Highlander. Sure. I think it's pretty cool. Is that the end of the entire event?
That is the event. Yeah, we have congratulations to. Okay, so let me bring us back to the booth. So that is the whole thing. Thankfully, we had a second monitor this time, so I think that we had went a little better in terms of technical difficulties. I want to congratulate asmallpotato and Bailite for winning the event, and thank everybody that showed up to play. And special thanks to Loman, who has been carrying the burden of commentary for most of the things, while I was sometimes just spaced out doing like tournament stuff. So thanks for taking care of it and hanging out in the booth with us. I want to remind you that if you want to sign up for the tournament in the upcoming weeks, your best bet is to sign off on our Discord, which you can find by typing !Discord in chat, or if you're watching this photo on YouTube, it's going to be in the description down below. Discord, the Canadian Highlander Discord is full of awesome people, so you just come over and hang out with us anyway. But it's also just a great way to both get you set up in terms of getting your deck together, and getting in contact with us in terms of tournament organizers. And if you can't play on Sunday, there's plenty of opportunity for you to play also there's plenty of other avenues that will allow you to play. If you're already done all of that and you just want a sign up sheet for the tournament, !Next poll in chat also gets you there. Again, thanks everybody that dropped by to watch us. That's been great, and thanks to everybody that participated. If you're watching this and you like what we're doing and you have a spare subscription that you can consider doing, maybe you can drop us a sub. That would definitely help us in terms of figuring out that would help us do different things and more interesting things with the tournament. And just with that, do we want to raid Bengineering or Surge? Because those are the guys that are streaming right now.
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't really know much about Sid Meier's Civilization or Pokemon Heart Gold.
Let's go.
Surge got less viewers right now, so maybe raid Surge.
Let's go Surge.
All right, guys, take it easy now.
All right. Oh, that's why. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna send you on the raid in the next second. I just want to be able to actually hear Surge when I do.
Mission A passed.
There you go. Okay. So, again, thanks everybody that dropped by and hang out.
I don't know how decided that she got the tiebreak there.
Go harass Surge in his, but don't actually harass him. Surge is amazing. But yeah, let's go hang out there.
Well, thanks for hosting.
Well, you only make people angry.
No problem.
If you do things to make people angry. So like,
can't wait to see the WOD of me playing Turbo.
Oh yeah, we got distracted at a couple of points. All right. See you all in a couple of seconds. Later.